Should I take it away this time? Because these are my boys.
Yeah, take it away, Bo.
Am I daddy? All right.
Dude, it feels good when your hand's on my leg. I'm not going to lie.
That's why I do it to him all the time.
Because it's so much. Ready?
Yeah.
Hello and welcome. It's HardLore time. How are you, Colin?
I'm good. It's hello, welcome. There's no and, but yeah, you keep going. I'm so good. Tell me about our guest.
You can fix that in post, right? Today, we are joined by two of my favorite men. We got Andrew Brown and John Hoffman from Weekend Nachos, who just announced a very exciting comeback.
Thank you.
How are you?
I'm full of tacos.
Good.
John, so Drew wanted to eat but couldn't before, so we're going to eat after this. But John and I just ate. We're going to eat again. We're going to have second dinner. John had 5 tacos.
And rice and beans.
He's the man's stuffed to the gills.
I got a taco dinner, which came with 3 tacos and rice and beans. And then the pastor and the asada was so good, I had to get one more of each. And I plan on having another dinner.
Dessert tacos.
So here we
Is that what you've been up to since 2017? Eating good or what?
I mean, I don't know if there's any possible other thing I've been up to than that.
Yeah. So
Yeah, we were talking about that off air briefly.
Oh yeah, like what I've been doing since Nachos broke up.
It actually was the cause of the breakup. On our, we were on tour in Europe, and a European friend of ours, Lisa, approached John at a Berlin show,
had to be
and
German.
said that, "Oh no, you've gotten so fat. It's very sad."
And that's
Du bist so gross.
that's not only what broke up the band, but what started my depression that resulted in me eating tacos every single day.
Wow.
So here we are.
Yeah.
These Germans, they'll do that to you, you know?
Dude.
These complexes that they create.
Have I told my story about the first This Is Hardcore we played? I forget if I've told that story.
I would imagine so.
Yeah.
Let's hear it.
Well, it was our first time playing This Is Hardcore, and a friend from Germany was like greeted me afterwards. This is right before James did the Coke thing. And
that's my favorite.
This person came up to me and said, "Yeah, I was watching your set, but it was kind of boring, so I left."
That's awesome.
Just like leveled me, you know?
Holy hell. Dude.
Why? Like, why?
You know what? It's crazy. Like those comments, like, man, you've gotten really fat. The first one you get in like 6th grade sticks with you to the end of your life. You think about it every time you look at an onion. So now it's been 6 years since that.
Dude, here's the thing.
And
here's the thing. I feel like, I mean, I'm not happy about gaining some weight. I don't know who would be. but let me just say this. I was like really insanely thin.
You were, yeah.
Yeah, up until like 5 minutes ago. And then,
wow.
And then all of a sudden there's just like Pig Champion instant.
Fuck yeah.
Like I took Pig Champion pills or something.
Well, here's the thing. What is Poison Idea without Pig Champion? You know?
Exactly. And
Just a bunch of guys.
What is
You gotta have one.
And what is Weekend Nachos 2024 without me?
Without so fat and
being-
sad.
Without a little weekday nachos worked in. You know what I'm saying, brother?
Week morning, weekday, weeknight, all the nachos all day.
So let's talk about the history of Weekend Nachos a little bit.
Let's.
Got a great picture here that I can.
You looking for it?
I can show us of what John
Just save
looked
it
like
and
as a young man.
We'll send it.
Yeah, I'll edit it in.
I'll edit it in.
I can show it later. Wow, wasn't that incredible?
A
wait,
literal child.
Let me see it.
It's your super sleuth photo.
Oh yeah.
Just a little baby. So,
John, I'll be honest. When he said your last name was Hoffman, I had no idea.
yeah. Probably, yeah.
I thought Caution was your Christian government name.
Well, he ain't Christian, brother.
No,
Well, that's
listen.
what I'm saying.
Listen.
Clearly, it's Hoffman.
I am Christian and I am government. So, yeah.
New album.
A lot of people don't know.
Yeah, this is John Caution.
I think we just doxed John live on the episode.
That's
Thank God. Somebody finally has
dude.
to.
It is it has been many years coming. So,
Good.
So Nacho started.
yes,
You were in a bunch of bands, including bands we were in together.
of course.
But Nacho's first started before Harm's Way began, right?
Right. Nacho started in September of 2004,
Right, with a demo.
which is crazy because we're coming up on 20 years.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
Well, it'll be 20 years in like a year.
Yeah, right.
So-
No, but I got you. Do you still remember demo songs? Like how to play them?
Oh, yeah. of
Dude,
course.
John, honestly, Colin, John is similar to you in the way his brain works with music, where it's just like,
And food.
and food apparently,
Sounds like
where it's just like, oh, that drum part goes like this.
Nice.
Or like that riff goes like he's got a fucking,
Like he reminds the guy who wrote it how to play it.
yes.
Dude, the weirdest
Oh,
thing
man.
John has done with songwriting, in my opinion, in the studio is he can have a song in his head that he's never physically played on any instrument before, sit down at the drums, record the final take straight, one take by himself, and then build the song on top of it without ever having
Wow.
played any of it before.
A savant.
It's it's one of the few talents that I
I mean,
have.
the song was horrible,
But he knew it so
but
well.
really well executed.
You have to take into context that the music is fucking horrible, but it's
Yeah, I did it.
it's mastered in the studio.
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
You guys have so many fucking songs too.
Dude.
you were like the
You know all of them? Still?
well, I don't think I could play any of them.
Yeah, right.
I mean, I wrote them on an acoustic guitar that was like
Sure.
missing strings and tuned to standard E. Like I write all my music.
What tuning is Nacho's in?
A standard.
A
Good
standard,
God.
which I think
Just showing off.
Is that what Zabulba's in?
I think so.
I think so too. Because, yeah, I think so.
and I think Korn tunes to that too.
Yeah, but they play seven
There you
strings.
go. The big three.
Well, like
baby.
it.
Dude, we had
I know Andy
Andy
does.
always played a 7-string, and we had a 5-string bass on the demo in the 7-inch too.
Jeez.
I was unwilling to play a 5-string, so I modified a 4-string.
And
That's
that
what I'm talking
Good for
about.
you.
that is why Weekend Nachos was infinitely better before Joy drew. Before Joy drew the
Before Joy Drew had.
before my man Joy here drewed our band.
Where did Caution come from? To the wind?
Did you sing or did you play drums?
I played drums
In a band called Proceed with Caution.
Yep.
Wow.
Proceed with caution. I was 14. Drew actually made fun of me when we met because him and his friends were like these crazy bullies. And they all thought that I was like 7 years old or something at the
The photo will really help this land.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Here it is again. Unbelievable.
A child being bullied by grown men.
No,
By
they were
14-year-olds.
yeah,
That's old enough.
They were my age. We're all the same
Yet
age.
the German adult gives him the eating disorder.
Yeah, right.
So
right.
think about that. American bullies still nicer than German regular people.
That's
German,
right.
Just regular thoughts.
Citizens.
I will say, if to all the Mexican restaurants that have benefited from my wallet, they can just reach out to Lisa from Germany and be like, "Thank you."
Muchas
Thank you
gracias.
so much.
Yep. Where were we?
We were talking about just Nachos. Who was in the lineup in the beginning?
So it was me, this dude Ron,
Ron, yeah.
who is actually in a band called Bong Ripper. That's like, I don't know how many people listening to this might know that band, but they're like a pretty
They're-
well.
They're out there.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they're-
they're like a well-known
Substantial.
doom band.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Andy Nelson, who is, we'll get to this in a bit, but
Right.
Andy quit for a while and then rejoined and is like part of like the main lineup
Yeah,
forever,
course,
basically.
yeah.
But Andy was in the band initially, and then this dude Adam Tomlinson played drums,
That's right.
who is in Sick, Tired, and Sea of Shit. Those are like his two
Gotcha.
bands that are the most well known.
And I remember the early shows were like, I don't know how to put it, but just so different from what we had been doing.
Oh,
You know,
for
like
sure.
Few and the Proud. John played drums in Few and the Proud. And it was just like that was like Outburst and kind of Youth Crew and just like what he was getting into. I remember it being like, holy shit, like this is crazy.
It was like, okay, so, obviously like Power Violence had been around, but like aside from like Mind Eraser or like, maybe even Think I Care to some degree, because they were obviously influenced by like Infest, like Power Violence was not the household name in like the regular hardcore scene that it is now. Like
no, not
like
at all.
like a band like, I'm keep in mind I'm a little out of touch. Okay, so some of this might sound like bullshit or whatever, but like I would imagine a band like Gulch, right? Like their fans might be like, oh yeah, like they're a Power Violence band,
sure.
or like something like that. But like, I will say that in like 2004, like in the regular hardcore scene, like there's still like majority of people would be like, what's Power Violence? Like
blast beat was rare.
Right. Your average hardcore kid would have to be into bands like Infest and Siege to even know what Power Violence was. Is my point.
Which it's important to note Weekend Nachos' crossover, because when I was in high school and you guys were touring and like finally playing California, the people I saw at Weekend Nachos shows were like the other music kids from my high school.
Right. Interesting.
Like I'm with my group of friends in like Dying Fetus hoodies and Hatebreed shirts. But the like Los Crudos kids are at the Weekend Nacho shows. I'm like, what the fuck are they doing? Because you got them, dude. You got everybody.
Totally. And I will say that like when Weekend Nachos initially started, I would say that's like the crowd that we would expect is like Los Crudos, Infest, Charles Bronson, shit like that. Not people that are into Hatebreed or Dying Fetus. However, at some point it took a turn where like, I would almost say more people at Weekend Nacho shows would be into bands like that.
Yeah.
Then
because they realized you're going fucking dun, 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 dun. Somewhere in there is the craziest bit you've ever heard for 5 seconds.
Right.
Totally. And I guess it's when reviewing the history of the band, at some point we'll get to the point where that kind of started.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, because this is pretty straightforward. I don't want to say straightforward in a diminutive way, but not very multidimensional when it came to
right. The early stuff you could argue is like a little bit more like straightforward Power Violence.
Yeah.
I mean, there's still some stuff on there that maybe people that were into fastcore and shit like that like would be like, oh, we're not used to this.
You had like a couple demos and then Torture?
We had a demo tape that came out like right when the band started.
Yeah.
We recorded it at like our first practice with one mic. It sounds amazing, obviously.
Yeah.
7-inch came out. We did a split, and then after that split,
right.
I believe personally, when I'm reflecting back, I believe this is where that turn took, because then we did 4 songs for a Relapse Records comp.
Right.
That like Scott Hall from Pig Destroyer put together. And I would say like he's kind of like who the metal community would probably consider, if they knew this, they would say like he discovered us. Because like he's the person that got us on that comp and really like got us involved with Relapse Records. And I believe around there is where you would say that we started to write like Hatebreed for Wimps.
Yeah.
And what year was that?
I want to say that was probably around like,
8 or 9, 7, 8, 9.
Yeah, it was probably 2007. I want to say.
So Harm's Way demo was 2006, and John played bass at that time.
I think John skipped over the entire first Weekend Nachos
just
LP
record?
for the record.
Yeah, we did. Like, I forgot to mention we did have an entire full length before those Relapse
But
songs.
was that just you and Aros at that time?
Right. Yep.
So there's a guy who I talk about often, Aros.
Yeah.
He's done tons of shit for Harm's Way.
Yep.
He's filled in for us. He was in a bunch of bands from here, and then can we talk? Did everybody just like quit?
It's kind of a long story.
Can you make it short?
I think so.
John is difficult. Is the summation.
Yeah, I'm a
Been there.
What was the shirt that was getting a picture of me and it was just gonna say difficult cocksucker. That's the idea that we never ended up. It never came to fruition.
I need one for by next Thursday. Please.
That's one of the designs we should do for the reunion.
Yeah, absolutely.
After this, they're gonna be creaming for it.
That's amazing.
Dude, the HardLore crowd is definitely gonna eat that shit up.
They're in, dude. What is Cowabunga Records, John?
Oh, Cowabunga Records was the label that put out our first record. It was run by my late friend, Nick Loverow, who passed away, I want to say, like, maybe 2 years ago at this point.
Wow.
He and I put out the first Weekend Nachos 7-inch together on Tooth Decay Records, which was our label.
Yeah.
And then he, like, started his own label. I actually named the label. He was, like, trying to think of names, and I was like, "Call."
I would have bet my fucking life on it. Tom, that you named Cowabunga.
I was like, dude, you should call it Cowabunga Records. And he was like, that's awesome. And I was like, I know. And his logo was a brontosaurus.
Jesus Christ. You got the discography pulled up over there, Colin?
I do, yeah.
Good, smart. He's a pro.
Yeah, I love it. I'm glad you could come at me with that.
So,
Of course.
Oh yeah. So
how did A-Ross come into the fold?
Andy basically quit Weekend Nachos to pursue this pop punk band that him and his like high school friends or friends from high school had started. Mm-hmm. People we're all friends with, like people from Chicago.
Dave went on to play in Harm's Way.
Yeah, Cronin. Dan
was in the band as well.
Yeah, he played bass in Too Sweet. Dan Pollock from Left Hand Path.
And Like Rats.
Yep.
And Like Rats, that's right.
And Like Rats.
Great Lakes supergroup at this point.
Yeah, so he quit.
Thank you, Colin. Noted.
You're welcome.
I heard that.
Basically, they were trying to do that band like full time. Like they wanted to like just literally hit the road for like years to do that. So Andy decided to quit Weekend Nachos to do that. They were called Too Sweet. That was the band. That's basically where I kind of begged A-Ross to join Weekend Nachos. Like, backstory, Aaron and I have been friends since high school. Like, he's like one of my oldest friends. I've actually known Drew longer, which is funny.
But we're not old friends.
We're not very
Yeah, he's one of your oldest friends.
Not very
Drew is not.
Drew and I are not very close.
We're business associates.
Drew and
What about you and Bo? When did you meet Bo?
I met Bo.
I know exactly when we met. I know the day we met.
Was it at the Against Me show?
No, it was at the Stand and Fight show.
Oh, yes.
That was when I met you and James.
Stand and Fight and In the Red at the Sports Place.
Time to Die?
Did Time to Die open?
I think it was their last show. Yeah.
They did. Didn't Down to Nothing play too? No, that was the Mental show. All right, anyway.
Tell me about that experience real quick. Tell me about young Bo.
Oh, yeah.
Little fucker.
Yeah, Bo, okay. So, like, obviously, you know Bo very well. But I would say that, like, a part of Bo, even though you probably know, like, a lot about Bo, a part of Bo still remains as, like, a Misfits fan, right? So picture, like, a mini, like, 15-year-old about to turn 16 with, like, black hair and, like, looks kind of like a mixture of, like, a real punk kid and also maybe just, like, a little bit of Hot Topic in there.
Definitely.
Yeah. And, like, you get little Bo.
But
just a Misfits guy.
That's way cooler than most things you could be.
Most importantly, very straight edge.
Yes, absolutely.
Soul.
So you take those things and then you sprinkle the edge on. I bought the Edge hoodie that day.
Totally.
Still have it.
Yeah. And you know what's great about our group of friends? We're all still straight edge.
That's true, actually. Everybody from Few and the Proud?
Everyone, including Drew, who replaced me on drums.
Hofacker's not.
Hofacker wasn't in Few and the Proud.
No, but Hofacker was in Harm's Way.
Oh, yeah.
He's the one.
But, like, okay.
He wasn't an original.
That's true. The original guitarist of Harm's Way is still straight edge.
Me?
No, I thought you were talking about Crucial Kyle.
No. That was a practice with him. Yeah. Anyway, we're getting way off.
Crucial
I was always the original.
If Crucial Kyle, whoever he is, wasn't still straight edge, I would kill myself.
Dude,
that sounds like what everybody's name was in like the mid to late 90s. Like,
100%.
Dude, the goofiest names.
Yeah.
I never got a nickname because there's only really ever one Bo, so you don't really need one.
No, we called you Bozo on the double crust test press.
That's right. That's right. John is on the cover of the double cross test press, which is just out of camera, so that's good.
Bo, this man just dropped bozo on me, and you think I'm ever gonna let that go?
We didn't see, the thing is, it didn't stick. Like, we didn't call him Bozo or anything, but I remember Chris and I were like designing the test press for the
John, it's gonna stick now.
Oh man.
You know what's funny? It's like the opposite of the Seinfeld thing, where I don't assume that people outside of Chicago know who Bozo is.
Oh, like the clown?
Yeah.
Well, they're gonna know Bozo.
Oh, we all know Bozo he got out.
He got out. He broke.
Well,
we know Bozo.
they're gonna know who Bozo 2024 is now.
100. They're gonna see the beginning of this episode. The names are gonna pop up.
Oh,
People are gonna be like, "Who's Bozo Luder?"
You know,
Now they know.
I'll have to say this. I think my work is done. I could probably just go home now.
Yeah, you're probably good.
This episode
100%,
is
dude.
This episode is done.
I
This
don't.
contribution is truly monumental.
Harm's Way. The first real Harm's Way show was
Trying to
at,
change the subject.
I really am. The first real Harm's Way show was at a Nacho show at DePaul.
That's correct.
Dude, let's briefly talk about DePaul shows,
Okay.
because a lot of the people listening are like our age group, believe it or not.
Okay.
And specifically like have talked to me about that time period.
Like mid 30s.
Yeah.
Late-
Or
late 30s?
Early to mid 30s. Yeah.
Okay.
So like
Old fuckers.
the old fuckers. So like talk about how cool and like important DePaul was.
I mean, okay, so I don't remember who was it. Gideon that did the shows there.
Gideon did a bunch who I just saw at High Vis, still going to shows.
Nice. This dude Gideon, who we all agree is awesome.
Yeah, great guy.
He
Listener of the show.
Drew, you like this Gideon guy?
Backed. Also, I
Right,
think
we all agree.
wasn't Mark Hurst involved
Yeah.
too?
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
that's right.
Punch in the face.
Yep.
Mark, right?
Yep.
So these two dudes literally found a way to do shows inside a classroom at a college.
DePaul University.
Yep, DePaul University.
That's where the shows were.
In a classroom, like a literal blackboard, and it would be like the set times on the blackboard and shit.
Yeah, not like a gym or something, just like one
Just-
regular 30-person classroom.
Just economics.
Yeah.
As in,
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
you have to move the desks out of the way. And I remember writing things on the chalkboard for
Yeah.
the show.
Of course.
And there were fucking like every tour. I mean, Mental went through there. All the Boston bands always came through.
Yep.
86
Righteous Jams.
86 Mentality.
And, Fucked Up played there.
Yeah.
Which
It
is
was just,
kinda
and
cool.
was crazy was it was like short lived. It was like 4 years, more or less, because it's like someone went to school and then stopped. You know.
That's the same with the metal.
So
Yeah.
one of the
exactly.
one of the first Harm's Way shows. Was it the first Harm's
It
Way
was
show?
the first real one. Remember we played kind of in Freeport.
Freeport. Yeah.
Yeah.
That was so fucking weird.
Yeah, that was weird. But
Remember
yeah,
those people
dude,
wanted to fight us for like literally no reason. Anyway.
Colin, you'll love this.
already do.
The first note of the Harm's Way set, the first note Harm's Way ever played, James crushed a mic to pieces.
Really?
In his hand.
Literally fell apart in his hand.
An SM57?
Probably not. It was modeled after one. It was a knockoff for sure.
It was an
For
it was an
sure.
MS75.
And the best part about that show is that James took his shirt off like right at the beginning of the set, and right after he did that, A-Ross took his shirt off and started like doing this like ska circle pit to mosh for Harm's Way.
Now you're talking.
Dude, I wish A-Ross was in here right now, actually.
I really wish that. A-Ross is awesome.
Anyway, so I like the idea that Nachos and Harm's Way kind of blossomed separately but together, kind of from the same root. you know?
Totally. And
It's
to
fun.
this day,
Yeah.
we still like
Yeah.
kind of mirror each other.
And I've always really liked that.
And we've all been in harm's way.
It's true. And everyone in Nachos besides Loudy has played in Harm's Way. Wow.
And
And you've all had your own Harm's Way exodus.
It's true.
Tell me about quitting Harm's Way.
Oh, wait, we'll get there.
No, you know what? Tell me about joining Harm's Way.
Yeah, we'll get there.
dude, this is my
And then we'll have some fun.
this is my
Dude, I
fucking
followed
chance.
John twice.
Yeah.
Into Few and the Proud and then into Harm's
That's
Way.
true. Wow. yeah,
true.
Drew,
I'm
caution.
just cleaning up.
My
Dude.
successor.
Can we talk about why you quit Few and the Proud?
Oh, So I kind of quit bands a lot. But Few and the Proud, if I remember correctly, was offered a spot on the Gorilla Biscuits show.
Yep.
We were supposed to open for Gorilla Biscuits. And I was like, I don't want to open for Gorilla Biscuits.
Yeah.
You weren't feeling
Dude,
it.
he took a hard stance.
Too much pressure, or
No.
you just
No,
weren't into it?
Yeah, I was like,
Anti-reunions.
yeah,
Which is funny because how long? Yeah,
Poetry.
I know. How long ago was that?
that was probably
2003 or 4?
No, it
4
wasn't
or
that
5,
early.
probably.
4 or 5.
No, it was 2005.
It was before Harm's. Yeah, okay, 5. So like, think about how many reunions there have been in 18 years.
All of them.
Yeah, like literally
Except
all of
for
them.
Demise.
I remember.
All of them.
I thought, keep in mind this is like 18 years ago. So, it really for me, like, reunions all kind of depend. It just, some of them I'm going to be like, oh, that's awesome, and some of them are a bit like, no,
Yeah.
I'm not going to see that. But with Gorilla Biscuits, I remember they were doing like a Paul Frank shirt at the time, which
Wow.
18 years ago me thought was lame.
Yeah.
I just, at that point, like, I'm convinced that anybody could reunite, and I would have been against it at that time.
Yeah,
I just would have been. That's not.
Which that was pre-Negative Approach reunion. Would you have been against that?
I don't think I was like gung ho about the Negative Approach reunion, but I think I still found that to be like more crucial than like a Gorilla Biscuits for whatever reason.
Well, Negative Approach was a band for 3 fucking years.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, and
changed everything and disappeared. So that makes sense.
Yeah, and I think that like it also depends on like, I don't know, how are you going to explain how someone that's like 22 years old thinks?
Yeah, totally.
Like I would not want to know myself at 22 years old. Like,
oh my God, dude.
I
I was truly brainless before 25.
Yeah, exactly. And like, I don't really think I've improved much now, but I definitely have still improved a little. So
I remember.
it's like,
Do you remember this weird? So Drew then started playing for Few and the Proud.
yeah, I straight up said,
Yeah.
I think I told you guys, I said,
If we play that, I quit.
if we play that, I'm not in the band anymore. And you guys were
Wow.
like, well, we want to play it. So,
and so we did.
and I don't remember there being any.
No, there wasn't.
No
there
bad
wasn't.
blood?
No heat.
No, and also like, because remember we started writing what would become Convicted stuff,
Yep.
and like you weren't really feeling it too much, minus the one song.
We had 2 songs that I like kind of wrote with you guys, and
Yeah.
that became like the Convicted demo.
Yeah.
Because you guys recorded
yeah.
both. It was, those 2 songs.
Do you remember this when we were on our way to the show in the Fall Out Boy van? Bernie was talking about what he was gonna say, and we were like, Bernie, don't fucking say that. Shane is doing the show. Like, you don't have to say. He was gonna say whatever about basically agreeing with John about a reunion being kind of
But
silly.
opening for the band.
But opening for the band. So it's like,
Yeah.
well,
You know
don't
what?
do that.
Move.
Dude, you know what? Just real quick, I remember that being like a sort of selling point to keep me interested in doing the show. I remember Bernie saying like, if we play the show, like I can say something on stage about it.
Oh, yeah.
And I remember looking at him and being like, why don't we just not play the show?
But anyway, I think I kind of snapped at Bernie. He was like, dude, don't fucking say that. And he was like, the way you're talking to me right now, we're going slow enough. I can jump out of the van.
He absolutely had 2 backpacks on at this moment as well. You had
This guy,
a
Bernie?
front backpack and a backpack.
Colin, I can't even explain to you how this human like functioned back in the day.
What's he doing today?
He's in Japan. He's been in Japan 15 years, 10 years.
Yeah, long time.
He literally, dude, this was the guy where when Few and the Proud was breaking up, and I think I've talked about this before, that he was like the money guy, and he was like, well, since we're breaking up, I divided up all the money into envelopes, so here's everybody's money. And we were like, well, we're still going to be a band, so we'll just take that. And he went, all right. It's like, oh, okay. And then he moved to Japan. He's a teacher. We saw him when we were there. He was fine.
Wait a second.
okay.
You guys were breaking up, but still being, I don't get it.
Well,
Well, he quit.
Convicted was happening. Like we were going to find another singer.
Oh, I see. So it was like understood that it would like kind of morph into another band.
Yeah.
I gotcha. Okay.
So it was like a Sam Hain Danzig situation.
Exactly. Only he tried to Danzig us.
Okay.
Anyway, Weekend Nachos.
Yeah. Okay. Like an hour later.
Torture EP.
Yes.
Which Punish and Destroy was the first LP. Right?
Correct.
And then Torture EP.
No.
Torture was before
Torture was
Punish
before
and
that.
Destroy.
You're absolutely
Yeah.
right. My bad. What was after Punish and Destroy?
After Punish and Destroy was the Relapse comp songs.
Wow. He's doing this off his dome. It's amazing, isn't it?
He's good, man.
What was next?
Looks like Unforgivables after that.
Okay,
Yeah,
so this is a big one.
And that's where I come into play.
This is
There
where
we
Drew
go.
comes in. So now we kind of have to talk about when Weekend Nachos became just me, basically.
Right.
For a little bit. It was okay, it's not as dramatic as it sounds. Basically, our bass player Christian, who went by Varg at the time, called him Varg.
Awesome.
We called him Varg, yeah. Christian and I kind of always got on each other's nerves when he was in the band. He was just kind of like an instigator. Like, not an instigator like I am.
I was gonna say
The bad kind.
Yeah, like an instigator of friends as opposed to an instigator of like society.
Ah.
You know what I mean? Like this dude would try to make me upset.
John was just doing it on the B9 board. Varg was doing it
God
to his
Lord,
friends.
was he ever?
Do you remember him on the Green 9 board?
Oh my God!
Really?
absolutely.
That is so fucking
No
funny.
way.
Reign and Terror on there, dude.
Get out of here! Really? That's
You were a fucker. You were a day one fucker, dude. And that's like the fact about you that I've always known.
Dude,
we're not, you know, we don't know each other very well.
yeah. No, that's straight up.
But I know damn well you's a fucker.
Dude, that straight up kicks ass.
Yeah.
The fucker from Weekend Nachos headline.
Dude, that Bridge 9 board got me in some shit with the drug test guys. Remember that band from Boston?
Oh, they'll fuck you up.
Dude, what's funny is that I would like both Rick and Alex, I think his name is.
Yeah.
Like, we're gonna really fuck me up at Posse Numbers 04. Or
They'll get you.
no, Posse Numbers 04. They were
The last one?
I think the last one was 05.
05. Okay.
But yeah, the drug test dudes were gonna fuck me up at that. And then I met them and they were just like, "What's up, man?"
They were playing mind games
Yeah.
with you. They
Dude,
had you. That's the
but
thing.
see
They
that-
wanted you to know.
But see,
they
I
won.
don't know if I thought I was invincible or what, but I remember every time somebody was gonna like beat my ass because of something on that board, I was just like happy go lucky
Well,
about it. I'm
dude-
like, all right.
One of my favorite stories about you was when we were trying to figure out you came up with Harm's Way as a band name.
Right.
And
Did you take out the apostrophe yourself? How do you feel about that?
it's
I-
on the demo. which
I
is a
always
bummer.
put the apostrophe in there. And then I remember
man.
like the apostrophe being gone was like a Bo, James, and Chris thing.
Well, dude, it's just stylized without it. We
Dude,
write it with it.
I've
It's-
heard the explanation
just the logo.
10 billion times.
I cannot
Yet.
wait till I can tell my side of the story of
and we'll get there. We'll get there. All right.
What year was that?
Hold on.
That you- that-
Hold on.
Yeah.
You came up with the band name and
Correct.
you got message on MySpace.
Oh, right.
There was a Boston hardcore band called Harm's Way.
It was Chris Corey.
Uh-oh. Oh, wow.
Yeah, Chris Corey.
on the Mental WERX live thing. He shouts out James from Harm's Way, but it's a different dude. It's the other Harm's Way. We weren't a band yet.
I don't remember if it was James, but it was definitely some. Was it?
It was
other
either
dudes?
like James or Jason or something like that.
Yeah.
I think it is.
So yeah,
He'd
it
be
was
lying.
Chris Corey. Chris Corey sent me a MySpace message, and he was like, hey, like, it's weird because he didn't ask me to not use the name. He was just kind of like, hey, just so you know, like, my friends and I have like an established band already called Harm's Way. And I messaged him back and I was like, all right, well, if you guys want to have like a samurai sword fight or something to like see who gets to keep the name, like, I'm down.
You fucker, dude. You were a day one fucker, truly.
And like, no reply. There was no response. And then we just kept the name and I guess
Yeah.
your band survived.
I guess so.
The sad thing about that is that it's not too late, and somebody listening to this could really like that guy.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just telling you straight up what happened.
You're doing great.
Yeah, like you know, I don't have anything negative to say about the interaction. I just thought it was really funny.
That's amazing.
But yeah, I mean,
I mean, Harm's Way is still here, so it was all good.
What's funny is that like with Harm's Way's success and like what you guys came to be, right? You could argue that I saved the name.
Yeah.
By not saying, okay, we'll change it.
Yeah.
That's true.
Band from Boston.
We'll change it to Weekend Nachos.
Listen.
Where the fuck did that?
Yeah, no one is taking that name from me.
It's very true. No. Can we? I'm sure a million people have the question. Where did that come from?
So, I was talking to Bria on AIM.
Someone from Chicago on AOL Instant Messenger.
Yeah, just this girl that we are friends with. Mm-hmm. And we were just like, I was like, I got to come up with this name for this band that I'm doing with Andy, and like I want it to sound like a Japanese hardcore band. Like I want it to sound like it doesn't make sense. So I just started putting words together.
Really?
Yeah.
I never knew that.
That's it.
That's the way to do it, dude. The sauce that they've got when naming bands.
Totally.
And Weekend Nachos is maybe the closest a band has come.
I mean, seriously, okay, if there was like, okay, Lip Cream, like Jelly Roll Rockheads.
Oh.
There's a brand new band called Gates to Hopeless. And I heard that and I was like, fuck, they got another one.
So it's like if you were looking at like a show flyer from that era, it's like Lip Cream, Weekend Nachos. It's like,
I'd be like, I gotta hear.
It's like, it's like that sounds like a bunch of teenagers from Japan on 625.
Interesting.
Thrash.
Very interesting.
Wow.
I did not know that was the origin.
Yeah, that's how it's done. And I think I said something and Bria said something. Bria, I'm not even kidding when I say that Bria helped name the band.
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
Wow.
So you're alone again.
Excellent Dokken song, by the way.
Alone Again?
Yeah.
So then,
great song.
How does Drew come into the picture? We were all working together.
Oh, so Christian got on my nerves. He was like an instigator of me and like really liked to push my buttons in a way that I didn't even like, right? And it came down to an issue of money. Like we were renting a practice space. He owed me like 2 months rent of the practice space, and he was just like, "I'm not going to pay you." And
the practice space we still have right now,
and have had for 20 years.
Which I have
running water in there.
No.
Which ironically,
running water.
Ironically, I don't think I've ever paid for since then, ever. But yeah, at the time I was like,
you personally, but somebody has,
right? Exactly. But at the time, it was just like our band. Like there was no one else really. Like we were renting it from you, but like it was just the four of us before you were, or even Andy was back in the band. So, I was basically paying our portion of it. And at the time, like 2 months of that was like $50. Like someone that's like 21 or 22 years old, like I need $50.
That's a lot.
Yeah.
100%.
Like that's like me. That's like $500 now.
It's
right?
it's the same practice space that Harm's Way was in for the majority of our career too. There is this one room in this one building that was like 6 Chicago hardcore bands at the same time.
Basically, all of these motherfuckers have been ripping me off for a long time on practice space rent.
How much is the space rent? $380 something?
Yeah, it's actually gone all the way up to $450.
$450
Excellent.
A month.
A month. Yeah.
So anyway,
which like that's a lot, but land is worth a lot of money now. So that real estate, you give that up.
Yeah,
somebody's getting that thing for $900.
Practice spaces, are like $700 now. We're still on some very outdated pricing at $450.
Keep that.
Yeah, but very outdated electricity, no fucking elevator, no air conditioning.
2 openable windows, though.
Yes, sure.
Hey, come on.
They had Hawaiian Punch in the vending machine. So
they did, and Squirt.
I used to drink one of those every time we practiced. But anyway,
you are. So many things make sense.
Hey.
Our guitar player at practice yesterday ate a package of chili Fritos that expired in 2020 from said vending machine.
Dude, the chili Fritos go fucking hard.
Dude, those are COVID Fritos.
You'd have to do some real convincing to get me to not eat them. I'm with him.
That is awesome. I feel like, you know what? Just based on this conversation, I feel like Weekend Nachos is going to do really well in this current era. Like,
I think
you're fine. Everybody eats expired chili.
Yeah, we didn't
not.
even skip a beat. We still got this. Anyway,
no, you're doing great.
So you're alone.
So you're alone. You start recruiting.
He didn't pay me the money. I kicked him out of the band.
There you go.
Okay.
A-Ross was not happy about this. Not because of my reasoning for kicking out of the band, but because I really didn't talk to him and say, "Hey, I just made a decision," which, fair enough.
Yeah,
right.
Sure.
But he quit the band and took all of the band money.
Oh.
Every cent of it. Just took it. I said, what the fuck? So Aaron and I stopped being friends over this for like 2 or 3 something years.
I remember that.
Wow.
We'll get to this, but there's a song on Worthless that is written about him. And
wow. Thank God he's not here.
Well, we're good now.
Yeah.
Love that guy.
Well.
He was at your 40th.
Yes, he was.
Yes, he was.
Love that guy forever.
When was your 40th?
What's that?
When was it?
When was your 40th birthday?
August 5th. We did.
Happy birthday.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. It was recent.
Yeah, we all went out.
Yep. So I'm by myself.
Alone.
I'm alone again.
Mr. Lonely.
Yeah, and Drew, for some reason, Andy was gonna be back in the band. We were talking about adding him as a second guitarist. So when A-Ross quit, I kind of already had a guitar player. I was like,
Andy from Too Sweet.
Yes. Correct.
Okay.
So I was like, Andy. I was like, Andy, you're about to join the band again. Like, you still want to do this, right? And he was just like, yeah.
Isn't it? I think it's really cool when somebody leaves and then comes back.
Totally.
There's something just like intrinsically neat about that.
Yep.
And I remember,
especially if you have an established fan base
Yes.
who's like excited about that.
Yeah, exactly. I remember the first show back.
Yeah,
Dude.
I was gonna say Mills played bass at that show.
Oh,
holy shit! I forgot about that.
That after Mills filled in once, I joined.
And the funny thing about Drew joining is because when you told me that you wanted to be in the band, I was just like, why? I was like, you don't. I was like, do you like the band? And that's when you told me, like, you're like, yeah, I have that first record. It's pretty good. And I was like, wait, what?
Dude. Also at this time, almost like 60% of Chicago hardcore that lived in the city all worked at the same place.
Oh yeah,
we all worked
the telemarketing.
Yeah,
thing?
we all worked at this telemarketer's office,
which also was all of them riding my ass. I was the first one.
Yeah, Drew was the first one.
It's true.
He got me in there.
Give Drew a break.
He needs his flowers.
God.
Got a lot of money from them all getting hired though, because there were referrals.
Oh, you get that you get like $150 bonus or something.
Yeah, but a lot of them also made me look really bad in the long run.
The best part was like they would hire people, and then like 2 of the bands would tour together, and 10 people would be gone. It was just like, whoops.
It's true.
But
Tell
anyway.
me about the first Weekend Nachos tour. When was that?
That was like the first real tour because we did like some stuff, but the first real tour was when A-Ross and Christian, then Varg, was in the band, and we had this dude from South Florida that played drums in the band for this tour. We didn't really have an official drummer, but
what year was that?
2007.
Was that when we flew to California?
That was a little bit after
2008.
Yeah.
Okay.
The
Harm's Way's first time in California
Yep.
was jumping in their van and
God, those shows were awesome.
piggybacking on
Cobalt Cafe, dude. I was there.
Yeah, he was there.
Holy shit, you were at that show?
Yeah, dude. That was where I saw the other kids from my school. And I was like, what the
that is awesome to know.
It is.
I love that.
It is really
and
cool.
I know that you threw the chair at the San Bernardino Harm's Way show. I know that because I've heard about that for years, which is also awesome.
first episode.
That's the first episode of the
HardLore.
show, yeah.
Oh,
we talked about that. Yeah.
Fuck yeah.
And that was with a fake. Was that with Charlie and Convicted, or
No,
was
that was
the like
us.
funny false Convicted?
That was what
But-
I
Yeah, no,
sang
they
that
all
show
sang.
That's where
A little bit.
we named Dan from Downpresser Jesus Presser.
because he looked like Jesus.
Right, dude.
And he was moshing to
He
the-
was so majestic in that
Dude,
in that era.
locks.
He was-
flowing locks.
I feel like later, because I don't really know that dude that well, but I mean, I met him on that tour and it was awesome. But like, I feel like he got, am I correct? He got like super ripped and much bigger, right? He was kind of like thin.
Yeah, he was a big guy before that.
Yeah,
and
big frame.
like that was kind of deep into his transformation.
Yeah.
I don't know.
And now he's just been like big, strong man.
Big frame.
When we called him,
That was the day I met him.
No shit.
Yeah, I didn't know him when the chair thing happened and he fought on my behalf. I didn't know him.
I don't know when
He just dug my vibe.
when we named him Jesus Presser, I kind of remember him being like thinner. Like, am I just
Yeah, but like not much, you know.
really?
Yeah.
Maybe I'm just in my memory. I'm picturing like a guy with like Jesus's kind of like
No.
frail frame.
No,
From
not at
your
all.
current memory, which you know.
Yeah. You know, they say that drugs fuck you up, but I think it's tacos.
Oh, wait.
Honestly.
Food, this tacos and nachos.
The chair thing, that was a different tour though.
Totally different tour.
But I do remember.
But
that.
anyway,
do you
yeah, I
remember
was just-
we got banned from the trampoline place in San Jose?
I wasn't with you guys, but yes.
You know, we tried to go back years later with Foundation, and they wouldn't let us in.
Get the fuck out.
Swear to God, they took your ID, so
That's
they knew us.
insane. It was you guys in Coke Bust.
And some of your band.
Yeah. Brian probably was with
Probably,
you.
yeah.
But yeah, I remember that.
Somebody jumped from way too high, and they kicked us all out.
That
And
was
Yeah, but
that was
what else am I supposed to do?
It's a
then, you know?
trampoline.
that was the same weekend where we were playing at Burnt Ramen,
Yeah.
and somebody from Coke Bust had a thing of jenkum.
Oh God, that's right.
You know where you huff fumes from piss and shit in like a bottle.
Yeah,
That's,
that was real.
Like they
the thing,
they
huh?
made
Yeah.
you don't know what jenkum is?
I never done it personally.
Well, I've never
I'm
done it
fucking
either,
straight
but
edge.
but they made jenkum. I mean, they were a straight edge band, so I don't think they were intending on huffing the fumes, but they made jenkum on purpose.
Yeah,
And they had
Okay.
this.
it was
and I-
like bubbling. It was
yeah,
disgusting.
yeah. We were like throwing it in the dumpster.
You have to cook it or
No, it ferments, much like
Oh,
a
it
wine.
cooks itself.
Yeah, you basically make something that can get you fucked up, and it was called jenkum. And
like a-
I mean, it's easy. You just piss and shit in a
Just piss
jug
and shit?
Yeah,
Okay.
it's like a
I'm
human.
gonna be rich.
ceviche.
seal it up, and
yeah.
yeah,
Makes so much.
But anyway,
yeah. Anyway,
that was fun. That was our first flying experience,
yep.
which is crazy to think about. And I'll never forget, dude. We flew into Oakland, and we were like, "Oh, where do our guitar? Where's my guitar's not on the conveyor belt? Like where?" And like turning around, and it's just in the oversized area, but your guitars are just like thrown into
Yeah,
the
just sitting
corner
there.
of an airport. Ugh.
You got to tell the story on that Harm's Way Weekend Nachos weekend. You have to tell the story about the horse mask. Which
God.
has that come up on another
No,
episode?
not once. I
think
don't
so.
think so. So we were playing the Pharaoh's Den in Riverside.
Riverside,
California.
That's
Yep.
right. And Loudy, the drummer from Weekend Nachos, put on a horse mask, just the rubber horse mask. You know?
It was, dude, backstory. When Christian, aka Varg, came on that tour, he didn't bring anything except for a crate of like cigarettes that he had stolen that he was going to sell on the road for money. Like no socks, no shoes, no clothes, but these cigarettes and like a few masks.
Yeah, masks. Yeah, that's right.
That's all he
That's all
brought
he brought
with
on
him
the whole
on,
tour.
on the
And
tour.
how long was this tour, John?
34 days.
Oh my god.
He was a wild
This is
man.
Brian or this is before Brian?
This was the tour.
Brian did play, but this was a different guy. This is that Varg guy.
Yeah,
But
this is
Brian was
before-
on that tour.
This is before that.
So Brian put on one of the masks, was a horse mask.
Yeah, we still had it in the van.
Yeah. And you're right. And some lady who was for sure, like, it's easy to be like some crackhead lady or whatever, but some lady who was on some kind of amphetamine made her way up the stairs to the Pharaoh's Den, which is like a pretty big stairwell.
Huge, the like historically
Yeah.
vertical stairwell.
Horrible. And I love to imagine it this way. She walks into a room of people like killing each other to crazy music. I think we were playing, right?
No, Harm's Way was not playing. I just know that somebody
it
else
wasn't
was.
you guys. Yeah, it was somebody
It
else.
was some other band that we played with in Southern California.
It may have been Bear Trap.
It could have been Creatures.
Did they hop on?
Bear Trap was on some of those days. I remember.
I don't remember
Fuck
that.
yeah.
I remember.
It might have been
Legends,
Might have been.
dude.
It might have been Creatures.
Maybe
Maybe.
Oh, it was probably Creatures.
it's
All
it's
I
very
know.
possible.
All I know is that Brian was like moshing for a band that he probably didn't even really like.
No, and he had the horse mask.
He
on.
just had the horse mask. That's what Brian would do. He was just mosh at shows for like whoever was playing.
So
right?
this lady is out of her mind, walks into a room, hears crazy music, sees people killing each other, and then sees a horseman and attacks him.
She went up to Brian and started trying to rip the horse mask off of his head.
But the best part is Brian wouldn't let her. He was like holding on to only the mask. Like, no!
like he was like moshing. I remember moshing with the horse mask. This lady comes out of nowhere and runs in and starts like frantically like trying to rip the mask off of him. And he's like resisting, right? And then I remember just like 4 or 5 hardcore kids grabbing her and throwing her down the stairs.
Horse trauma sticks with you your whole life. So it doesn't take much to trigger an event. So he didn't like bump into her while moshing, like she came off the street and
she
just saw the mask
literally
and was like,
walked.
you.
yes, dude. It was like she saw the Minotaur. She had to fight him.
like picture like you've obviously been at a show where you're like watching one of your friends moshing, right?
Yeah.
So
It's the best.
So now exactly. So now imagine that it gets even better because someone wanders in, tweaked out of their mind, and tries to rip their horse mask off.
God.
There's nothing better than that ever.
I mean, that's
so-
if you were to ask yourself what could be better than watching my friend moshing, like this is it.
This is it.
This
You
is
already
this,
added the horse mask. I'm in.
Yeah,
this
right.
is how that gets better.
And then a random attack.
yeah. So yeah,
So unforgivable.
dude, I love how every single one of these, like, it's just
Well, that's how it was.
Yeah,
it was
it
always
just
going to
veers-
go.
That's how it works.
No choice.
What
Yeah.
about Unforgivable comes out. This is the one where I feel like this is your time.
This is the breakout. I think.
I mean, it's arguably between that and Worthless for different reasons that you could say
Yeah.
both of them are milestone records for sure.
big time.
So Unforgivable is written during a time before Drew and Andy were back in the band. I had the entire record written. I wrote it right around the time.
Jackpot.
I wrote it right around the time when I was alone again. And it was just a purely like isolated, miserable record. Like it was just like every ounce of negativity I could possibly have inside me like went into this, right?
What were the hits on that record? Like, what were the songs on that record you would play that always pop?
Pain Over Acceptance. Your favorite.
That's my favorite.
It's on the breakdowns list, right?
Yep.
Dude,
Shot in the head.
Yep. Shot in the Head.
Another incredible track.
Yes. I think those two.
Those are the two. Yeah,
Like,
I mean,
there's
that's how it
other
works.
songs people
Yeah,
like,
of
but
course.
those are like the two.
Those are the two.
And I think those were the two that we like put out there as singles. Like when we, this was like before we were like, honestly, it was before a time when like any band could get like a track premiere on like Cult Nation or something.
Yeah,
like
right.
that.
Oh, dude, yeah,
Like-
that's the thing it was not. Now bands have it so easy by just being able to put a song on Spotify and being like new single out.
Dude, not
But
only
you had to fucking beg and plead with
Seriously.
Decibel or Revolver. Or some shit.
not only that, but like getting a blog to host your song now is really not that. I'm not saying like, hats
It's
off.
worse.
Hats off to any bands
Yeah.
that are like doing whatever they do, right? But it's
Yeah.
really not easy it was not easy back then to have like a reputable source hosting your song.
Yeah.
Dude,
Unless,
I remember Warriors Will Reign came out. We just did it on MySpace.
right, exactly.
Remember?
Oh man,
And he
boy, did
he
you
was
ever.
day one. You know what's
That's-
so funny is that hit 1,000 plays, and we were like, "Oh man,
I mean,
we fucking did it."
I'll be honest, 1,000 plays for Stomach, I'm pretty stoked. I'm pretty stoked on that. That's a lot for me.
So,
So
what
we
year was Unforgivable?
2009.
2009. So this was.
And you're on Relapse, like a certified reputable.
So we never actually signed to Relapse, but
But this record is on Relapse.
well,
right?
So the
every-
CD was basically licensed to Relapse from us. We always owned everything.
Wow.
okay,
but-
businessman.
but it was an official Relapse release for sure.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
on.
Yeah,
there.
like it wasn't like they like distributed it or something. Like the CD version came out on Relapse and Deep Six did the vinyl, right? So I think that somehow I got Relapse to do that. I
think
don't.
Scott Holland.
Yeah, Scott Hull did the songs on the comp, and that got us. I think what happened was like
Right.
the dudes from Relapse who are like, honestly, I don't really know a lot about what it's like to work with Relapse as an official signed band, but all the dudes I know at Relapse are awesome. They're just like a bunch of dudes that love everything. Like
That's so funny. You don't understand what it's like to work with Relapse as an official signed band with 4 LPs. under Relapse.
I mean, I'm just, like we never had a relationship with them where like they would get us tours or like there was no like real money agreement where like we had to like pay them back for shit. Like it just didn't work that way.
So
It was
they swindled your ass for that licensing. That's what happened.
I mean, I don't know how that shit works. So maybe. I mean, I know that what they did for us, which there would not be Weekend Nachos in the metal scene without Relapse. Like it just
100%.
like, and depending on who you talk to, like you literally could get either answer.
Right.
Is Weekend Nachos a hardcore band or is Weekend Nachos a metal band? It literally depends on who you talk to.
Yeah,
So
it's the same way.
that is because of Relapse.
Your crossover truly, like I said earlier, was like unfathomable to me.
Yeah, it's definitely like
you had them all,
dude. They would
I
play.
definitely understand now that Relapse was such a big part. All it takes is some fucking, because Misery Index fans have been in the mud for so long. They've been dying for something else. They're at these shows like, when will there be more for me? And then Weekend Nachos comes along.
that was actually a really interesting thing that happened because when Scott put our songs on the comp, he also put other bands like us on that comp. Like Spoonful of Vicodin, I think, was on there.
So 2009, this is nearing your departure from Harm's Way.
Yeah, I quit right around that time. So we'll get to that, but I need to.
All right.
So you're multitasking for quite a while in both bands.
Yeah.
So my point about the interesting thing about like Weekend Nachos, like in the crossover appeal, is like there were other bands that Scott Hull was into that he kind of discovered too, that he put on that Relapse comp. It was a big comp. But I will say that Weekend Nachos is really the only band out of all that really like went on to like essentially kind of capitalize off of our inclusion on that comp. Really,
Sure.
like you can't really say that any of those other kind of oddball bands that were on that comp really went on to like be involved in the metal community.
Did they all have 4 songs each?
I think like between 1 and 4.
That's crazy.
It was like a
1 and
large
4.
It was like a large comp, like a lot of bands.
Like a couple 7 inches or something, right? Like
Yeah,
a
they did, like-
7-inch box set.
They did a 7-inch
Yeah.
box set with like 7 inches in the
Holy
box set.
shit.
That's cool.
Yeah. It was really an important thing for us, for sure. And yeah, that's where that all started. That's like where, like, none of this would ever happen, if not for that.
Yeah.
That's like where the turning point. And Unforgivable coming out was like the way we solidified that. Like, okay, let's do an album now and have Relapse do that. That's it. Like it all stems from there. So
Awesome.
yeah, right around this time, I quit Harm's Way.
But what, John?
Weekend Nachos is your baby, and now you're on Relapse, while Harm's Way is still finding their identity.
Yeah.
sonically.
Very much.
Right.
And you're just so. Tell me about the moment. It's the No God 7-inch where
We were writing for that.
right. So please break down John
Well,
quitting.
Well, let's just put a disclaimer. After the episode that James and I did, where we were being hyperbolic and a little we're poking at you.
right.
You and I had a heart-to-heart over it.
We did.
We buried a hatchet
This is good content, by the way.
because it rubbed him
good
wrong
shit.
a little bit. You know?
Right. My
So you're out here lying about your friends.
It was mostly James, but
it was absolutely. And you know what? I'll say this live on the fucking air. I don't care. Bo attempted to make it right and did.
Wow.
James was a stubborn fucking bitch about it.
He'll get you.
my God.
He'll get you. He's going to hear that, and he'll get you
So
again.
we were-
I'm excited for him to hear
James
it.
and drug tests are out for you, man. They're coming.
We were at practice at the same fucking practice space. John
Yes.
lived very far north at the time, right? You lived in wherever the fuck, Uptown?
Yeah, I lived in Uptown. Yep.
And that, I know it doesn't make a difference to you, but for someone, did you have a car at the time?
No.
For someone without a car, that is the other end of the city.
Yeah.
In a
It's
north-south city.
It's a pain in the ass to get there.
It's a whole thing.
So I'm going to make my version of the story really quick. And I will say that the thing that rubbed me the wrong way about you and James's segment wasn't that you told the story of me leaving wrong. It's that, we are like arguably a group of like best friends.
Yeah.
Right. And if you listen to that episode and you don't know us, it does not sound like I am one of you guys' best friends.
I
It
think
sounds
that's
like
fair.
It sounds like I'm some slug that you guys knew for 15 minutes.
Sure.
Right. So that was
Just some fucker on the
that. It sounds like I'm some fucking asshole that talks shit to drug test on the Bridge 9 board. Honestly. But
He's good.
But yeah, I mean that is what hurt, and
Okay.
obviously
which obviously was never the intention.
of course, and like I said, you, not James, you made it right, and you know what? I've put it aside because James and I have, are always going to be friends.
He
right?
bought James probably bought John some tacos.
That's all it takes.
James actually made some tacos for me. He cooked for me, and then
It's like carne asada.
Come on, man.
Hey, caution, you like carne asada, right?
I mean, if you don't, it's gonna be a problem.
He'd be like, I understand that. You like carne asada? It's all right.
I'm not trying to be a dick, but
Dude, I love this.
anyway.
Extended James impression.
We could do this.
I mean, if you don't like carne asada,
Yeah. I don't even know what to tell you. I don't even know what to tell you, man.
All right. So we're at practice.
So like I said, I'll keep this my version quick.
Yeah.
I was trying to find. I had just come back from a Weekend Nachos tour.
Yeah.
Harm's Way had a show that Friday, right?
Yep. At the Albion House.
Right. They had been practicing with Andrew Morrissey because he was going to fill in for me on the upcoming tour.
Yes.
But, hometown show. I'm back with my friends. I'm still in the band.
Yep.
Not quitting the band yet. And so
are you planning to?
no, absolutely not. So
You weren't not to get too into the weeds, but you weren't too crazy about the No God stuff.
no, definitely not.
So there was already like a little bit of like, well, stylistically.
Yeah, I really wasn't too into it.
Which in hindsight is so funny because it's like
a me.
sonically you can literally just listen to that and go, man, Harm's Way got really good when they put that out.
Dude, you know what's funny is when I first met my wife, I was like, hey, check out this. This is the Harm's Way record that I played on, and then this is the record after it. And my wife was like, you guys were not good back then. Yeah.
So anyway,
my wife is not a supporter of my contribution.
You weren't planning on quitting.
No, definitely not. So I had been trying to find out when we were supposed to practice for this show. Okay.
Yeah.
And based on the way you guys described it, I'm wondering if you guys even know that this is my version of the story.
Maybe not.
So I was trying to, and Mills was like my point of contact to try and find out when practice was. I was asking every day.
Who you almost fist fought at practice one time.
That's another amazing story.
Another story.
Excellent
Well,
story.
Mills is the business. He's the heart of the band.
He is now, but at the time it was strictly me and Hofacker.
That's actually true.
This is before James and Bo and Chris had anything to do with the business side.
That's actually true.
I guess you did. You named it.
He named it. He was the one who
booked all the tours.
He was the only one who had been touring, really, because he was in various bands over the years. And then Hofacker, I think, just had a checking account. Like that was just like it. So it just kind of became the two of them.
Yep, we booked all the shows. We did. I put out the demo in the 7-inch with Clint.
Right. Yep.
So anyway,
Organized Crime Records.
I mean, like, I booked the show that had the James in the Mask photo, which is arguably where Harm's Way's internet persona began.
Yep.
Right.
Yep. This is for you, Fest.
So anyway, and this is why I'm like, come on.
Yeah.
I wasn't just some guy, So I've been trying to find out when practice was, and this is something you also cannot dispute is Mills's communication methods, right? So he just straight up. Apparently, you guys knew when practice was.
Yeah, I think we were there, dude.
Yeah, dude.
We were literally in
so
the
when
room.
you guys were there, Mills texts me and says, "Hey, practice at 6." It is 5:15. I did not. Again, I live like all the way up north, and I when I listened to the episode, and James was like, "Caution, quit the band because he was hungry." right? What he's referring to is the fact that I had plans to meet someone downtown in Chicago for dinner that night, right?
Yeah.
Now,
and he's giving you the Lisa from Germany type explanation.
No shit, right? So now, mind you, by all means, Harm's Way, my band, is more important than going out to dinner with a friend in the city. But when you are already on a bus to meet somebody who is also traveling 30, 40 minutes to meet you somewhere for dinner, doesn't matter what it is. You don't tell that person, sorry, you got to turn around and go home. Yeah. Can't make it, like 20, 30 minutes before you meet them. And this was literally a situation where I did not know when practice was, right? Yeah. So that's the story. I texted Mills. I'm like, I can't make it. Like, we're going to have to practice another night.
And it just like wasn't doable.
Right. And then James is like, well, we've already learned these songs with Andrew, so we're just going to have him play on Friday. So I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? Like, you're not, I live in this town. I'm in this band. We'll just not play those songs. We have so many other songs. We just won't play the new songs that night. Sorry, we really want to play these new songs. We're about to go on tour. We're going to have Andrew play. Mm-hmm. And I was just like, fuck you. I was like, fuck you.
Did he say eat my shorts?
So that's in like a few seconds. But I was just like, fuck you. This is all via text message.
Like T9 text days too.
Yeah. I think I had a Razor at the time.
Yeah.
Remember the Motorola Razor? Yeah. I'm like, fuck you. No, you're not. Like you guys aren't doing that. And I was like, you know what? I fucking quit. That's bullshit. Right. And James goes, eat my shorts.
Have you ever been more mad in your life than eat my shorts?
I'm not even gonna pretend that I wasn't livid. Like, and I remember this was a discussion we were having at, like, not at that moment. It was after the practice. I was back home that night when I was texting James, and we were talking about this because I was thinking, like, all right, didn't get to go to that practice. Like, even if we don't practice, that's fine. These are my friends. I'll still play the show of this band that I am in.
Yeah.
Why would you?
Here's the thing. Yeah. Let me play the advocate of the devil.
I can't wait for this.
Thank you.
When was the tour?
It was the show was probably a Friday.
Mm-hmm, it was.
And then the tour was then we recorded with Steve Kane on the radio show thing that weekend.
Yep.
And then we left Monday.
Yep.
So it was.
Here's the thing, John.
It was. Yep.
With the way this is an unspoken law. He who doeth the tour playeth the hometown show.
To be fair to you,
before or after the tour.
But
that show might as well have been part of the
exactly
tour. Because at the practice, they're getting ready for the tour, not just the show.
How about this for consistency?
Yeah.
When we later on did the Acacia Strain tour and it played Chicago in the middle, Chris didn't play drums.
Interesting. Well, I will say, you may have a point.
Regrettably, by the way.
You might not have had to eat the shorts. That might have been too far.
It was a little far. There were maybe some other things said.
You already had dinner plans that evening. No shorts needed eaten.
But then, and I've told this story too. We played that show. James broke his arm during it. And then literally after the show, Hofacker, the other guy, was like, here's a check for all the money that's in my account that is Harm's Way's. I quit. This is all the same.
And didn't like two of your heads break?
No, dude, it was all like, it was Hofacker. Hofacker had a gear problem the whole set, and it ended up being the cab blew.
Oh, okay. Well, I just remember you were having equipment problems that really fucked with the show.
The entire set.
And James broke his arm.
And
then Hofacker
quit.
So you were feeling on top of the fucking world when you hear all that, right, John?
Hey, anyone that knows me knows that I did. So, I will say this: you may have a point about the hometown show thing, okay? But not to your point. That was not any of our mindsets that week.
Right.
Yeah.
The mindset,
like that's now thinking.
Yeah.
The that's advanced thinking.
The mindset was John missed practice. We know these songs and want to play them. Just my opinion. You guys made a bad judgment call putting that before my feelings about playing that show.
Wow. You know what's funny is if that was now, Harm's Way would 1000% do it the exact same way.
I-
Because it's
I
all about the
believe-
efficiency and what's best for the blah blah blah.
I believe that.
But
And-
at the time, yeah,
yeah, that's what I mean is that we were not in any way, and keep in mind
we
this
weren't
was,
pro.
Yeah, this was still when James and Chris and Bo had like little to nothing to do with like most of the decisions that were being made.
Right.
Although it was like about to
it was
transition.
it was
over.
right at that time.
It was like Hofacker and I quitting was like the immediate transfer of power.
that was
basically.
Chris talking to Closed Casket.
Yeah.
Like it's right there.
And then let me tell you, John.
Yeah.
No Gods rocked.
Well, let me tell you this. There is no question in my mind that I was meant to not be in Harm's Way because you have to think that if for some reason I stayed in the band, number one, the band probably would have just broken up within 2 to 3 years, right? If like Hofacker and I never like stopped being in charge of that band. So like me leaving and you guys taking over, like it's not even it doesn't even need to be said. It's the most incredible thing that could have
Well, then
happened.
you look at Weekend Nachos after.
Exactly.
And it's like,
For sure.
this was your guys' destiny all along.
Exactly.
For sure. And it's actually an amazing story for that
I think
reason.
it's like cool.
It's like it makes Harm's Way and Weekend Nachos like literal like blood brother bands.
Yeah, it's
we
awesome.
both love the Blood Brothers. Like so I want to get more into like Drew.
Yeah.
Now that like
Yeah, please.
Now Drew for some reason wanted to join the band. Claimed
And
that
I was in Convicted leading up to all of this, and I also quit Convicted when Nacho started going.
Oh, that's right. You did quit Convicted.
I never even thought about
I
that.
forgot.
That rules.
I forgot you broke the dam. That's
Yeah.
right. We played our.
You were the first one?
We played it.
First one out?
Yeah, we played an amazing last show.
We did.
That was
With who?
Chromax, Death Threat, Marauder, The Killer, Left Hand Path, Convicted last show at the Sub T. It's fucking.
That's a fucking
And it was like that was when
banger.
God Is I came out. So it was like that lineup.
That was the last Convicted show?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's crazy. That was like, I'm sorry, I just heard you go over the lineup, but that was like Death Threat, Chromax,
Marauder. Yeah.
Convicted, Left Hand Path,
And The Killer.
and the
Hell
Killer.
of a gig.
Oh my god,
It was
that show was amazing.
that was like like right around the beginning of that Chromax that version of the Chromax making the runs, and man, it was sick.
Dude, when they first came back and it was like John and Mackie,
Dude.
those shows in California were historic.
Yeah, the one here was like I was jumping and diving off the walls, like it was like that level.
Yeah.
Of
the
like,
Chromax were fucking
it was
awesome.
awesome. It was
You know what?
AJ and it was Scott.
I don't think there's ever. I mean, not counting like whatever version of the Chromax exists now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But like, if you think about like. I don't think there's ever been a time where I've
Easy.
seen the Chromags where they weren't awesome.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
Same.
but just imagine
In a
them-
live environment, just the song, how the songs are
Yeah.
so fucking
but
undeniable. that
just
what do you-
imagine the Chromags pre what we know of the Chromags now, like between like whatever versions there exist now. Just imagine Chromags at like arguably the best sounding,
Yeah.
best laid out venue in the city.
And most
Yeah.
lawless venue in
Yeah,
the city,
right.
too.
Absolutely.
So sick.
It was
So
just
Drew,
perfect. It was unbelievable.
Drew's role in Weekend Nachos, how did that expand? Because John, you were the guy for so long.
Yeah, so I think a little bit like going to the Harm's Way Weekend Nachos thing, I also think Convicted being killed off actually helped both things too, because then Harm's Way's focus was completely undivided.
Yeah.
And all of my musical focus went purely into Nachos as well then.
That's a good point.
One thing I will say about like you joining the band is that like I instantly to this day, obviously, like instantly got like the benefit of your like sense of order and like neatness and like professionalism
Yeah.
instantly. 'Cause, like,
Drew has always been the adult.
yes.
Like always.
You seem like a good guy, Drew.
Hey, thanks.
He's a,
I get this vibe from you that I can just tell you anything. You know,
Drew's a good guy and
Dr. Drew.
a former bully.
In what way? Were you a pit demon or what?
no.
No, just like a junior high dickhead.
Just an assassin.
Yeah. It's
Social
straight
assassin.
up. The
Dude,
samurai.
as great of a guy as Drew is at 40, I will say that Drew probably still to this day has ruined more lives during that junior high period than he has helped lives now.
You knock textbooks out of people's hands and stuff?
Oh yeah.
Closing some lockers going by while people are looking through?
Table topping, the whole thing.
Oh, table topping was gangster.
If like Mitt Romney was a junior high schooler, like that was what Drew was, basically.
Wow. Look at him now.
Look at him now.
He's a well-spoken businessman,
For sure.
I remember when you joined and we were all working at Total and you were like learning the songs and writing songs. And I remember being happy for you because you were like, you had a new creative outlet and you were like really digging it.
Yeah.
I just remember that being like an exciting time period because that was also like we were writing for Isolation. You guys were doing stuff, writing stuff. We were
writing for Worthless then.
They went to Europe like right before us.
So let's
so they're kind of trailblazing at the same time.
Yeah, how'd you do in Europe the first time?
Well, let's quickly wrap up like the Unforgivable era because like Unforgivable comes out, we play MDF, right?
Yeah. So I'm in the band now, but I'm not like contributing anything.
Was that
So you weren't part of the record. You weren't part of it. Oh no, right? Because John wrote the entire thing in a dark, lonely, depressive episode.
When I was alone again.
Was that the bolt thrower?
When he was alone again.
Was that the bolt thrower year?
Yes, it was.
Oh yeah. Bolt thrower let me shit in their VIP bathroom. That's how you know those guys are legit.
And I remember I wrote an article for like Revolver about how pissed I was that no one moshed for Bolt Thrower at MTF. And there was like 1,000 metalheads pissed off about it. It's
Really?
pretty awesome. Yeah.
You wanted people spin kicking or just pushing each other?
No, straight up, I wanted people to like mosh like they would to Hatebreed, but for Bolt Thrower.
Yeah.
And I was like, I mean, now I'd be like,
oh, dude,
why the fuck would you mosh ever?
I could do it.
I know,
Yeah.
I know, but like, if I were seeing Bolt Thrower, like, I would just, I don't care if anyone's moshing. I'm just like,
It's funny. It's funny.
You're just doing the
the haze. If anybody's named Tank, it's nothing personal. And then they play the fucking riff.
dude.
Did you see them when they came back, John?
Yeah.
In 2013?
Oh, 2013?
Were you at the Reggie show?
I don't think so.
Were you, Drew?
Yeah, I went to both of them.
That was fucking awesome. That was fucking
That was top 3 things I've ever seen.
I just remember seeing them at the 2009 MDF, and when they played Powder Burns, it might have been the heaviest thing I've ever seen.
Best breakdown ever.
God.
Yep.
It's up there.
Yeah, was that in your mosh part list?
No.
Oh yeah.
I don't think was Powder
It
Burns?
is. Yeah, dude.
Okay, good.
Powder Burns has been ripped off by me in Weekend Nachos and Hate Force.
Nice.
Excellent.
I've done it. We've all done it.
We've all done it.
Now. That's all it takes.
So when you ripped off Powder Burns, like we actually tried to make the riff like slightly worse so it could be considered our song.
Yeah, I just tried to actually put the exact riff into a Weekend Nacho song.
Yeah.
And then it was not modified in any way.
And then I think
what about this? I got something for this part.
And I'm not proud of this, but I think it was me that suggested we make it like slightly different. But we would get over that when
if you just go instead of now. This is the secret to writing music. Find a thing you like, do one thing backwards. Done.
Totally. And you know what? You have to be able to say that whatever you ripped off is not quite as good. And that's what we did.
Oh,
yeah.
But we got over that when we started actually adding corn parts into songs that were not changed at all.
You sure did.
But anyway. So,
actively, I was like, we got to get this corn riff in here.
Well, the song that I wrote about Eros, Old Friends Don't Mean Shit, literally has the riff from Good God like in it and the part. It's just, we made it into a Weekend Nachos part, but the riff is note for note.
What song is Freak on a Leash in?
Like, did we rip that off?
Yeah.
We actually, you had to remind me that we even did that.
Yeah.
But that was, it was like a B-side. It was like a song that no one ever really heard. I forget it's called No Saints.
Okay.
It was the last song on the Black Earth 7-inch.
Wow.
Anyway, so us playing MDF was a big deal for us. That's like that and the Unforgivable record is what solidified and like, oops, hit the mic there.
It's okay.
It's fine.
Like kind of like snowballed from there, like our involvement in the metal scene.
Pardon this interruption. We've got to tell you about some very important sponsors for this episode. First up, Bo, Loop earplugs.
Loop earplugs. I just had a weekend with Loop at Riot Fest. I had a great time.
Did they protect you?
They protected me. The day one, I took them out of the case and lost them temporarily, but I got them. I used the Experience Plus with the little. I got them right here with the little things in the center.
Which that really just cuts out the harsh frequencies, but makes you able to have conversations and hear people still, right?
Which is the ideal thing. Everybody's used to squishy, kind of bad earplugs that you can get from a Walgreens or whatever, and they just muffle everything.
And I don't like that, but also I do. When I'm watching a band or if I'm playing a show or something, I like the Loop Quiet, which really just drowns out absolutely everything. And you get this little carrying case.
Yeah.
So if you're Bo and you drop them, it's on you and not on Loop.
Are those the squishy ones?
I think it is the
like
squishy. The squishy. Yeah, it is.
Yeah. I intend to use those when I'm in a room of snoring men on tour.
So before we worked with Loop, my wife already did that. They're her day-to-day earplugs to deal with my ass. So
yeah,
Loop is out there, and it's crazy that they're working with us. Realistically,
and it's crazy that it's taken so long for us to be like, hey, maybe we should,
to be earplug guys. Yeah, I mean, as musicians,
yes,
arguably, realistically, other than our physical well-being, ear health, is the most important. Like, we need to work on that.
And I rue the years that I went to shows without any ear protection for so long.
I got tinnitus. I can't even hear you right now over the ringing in my ears. If I had Loop a long time ago, I'd be fine.
So you can click on the link below and you will get 10% off of your order.
If you're in California, that's tax-free, baby. Up next, it is Manscaped time, per usual.
Is it ever? I'm just
you're so
to the
decked
gills. What else can we say about this stuff?
Everything. I ran out of the body wash and I'm devastated. I need a new bottle.
Oh no.
The Crop Reviver and the Crop Preserver have permanently altered my constant states of being. If I'm not scaped, I'm not a man. Period.
I did a little weed whacking.
In the nose?
In the nose. Just because I'm not prone to nose hairs, I don't think. But
me neither.
Hey.
My dad is. I got to get him one of these.
Yeah, maybe.
Your dad got nose hair? Lord knows he'd be stanking.
Yeah. Yeah. Yes and yes. But I use the scrubber, the body scrubber with the body wash every single day.
Yeah. Man, I gotta re-up my body wash.
You do.
Y'all can order me one with code HardLore, 20% off free shipping.
That is right.
20% off free shipping, dude.
What else? I mean, I will buy anything.
And as we've stated before, you got me.
Yeah, done. What is
I'll buy a car for 20% off for free shipping just because the deal's so good. I don't care.
Yeah.
So ball deodorant, I'm in. Mm-hmm. It's also whatnot time, brother. I'm thinking maybe the Friday, October. I think it's going to be October 13th or 14th.
Okay.
Right before you leave for tour.
Right.
We'll do
the big one.
Our benefit whatnot for the Pit Recording Studio.
Apologies to everybody who's kind of been waiting and asking us. This is a lot harder to coordinate than you might realize. And but that being said,
but it's about to get real easy.
We got goodies.
Yeah, we've got some very special things. Everything auctioned on our next Whatnot show is 100% of it's gonna go to the Pit Recording Studio. Whatnot was kind enough to do no fees or anything like that. They're fully behind us. They're very excited about the benefit for the Pit. They are incredible people to work with. Mm-hmm. We love Whatnot, and not only do we love working with them, I was just a fan. I was just a guy who used it.
Yeah.
It's the best place in the world to buy new and used memorabilia of all kinds. Tell them about it, bro.
You can get stuff signed. You can get one of ones. You can get game worn or like ring worn stuff, if you're into wrestling or whatever, we got Brody King, Danhausen, Lars Fredrickson, all friends of the show on there. It's essentially a live podcast that's kind of interactive. There's a chat. We're talking. We're doing giveaways. We're doing all kinds of things, and then it's gone forever. But
Twitch meets Cameo meets eBay.
Yes, and during
personal experience where you get to own a piece of it, and in this case, it goes to a good cause. That's very near and dear to us.
Yes.
Back to the episode. Before we get to Worthless, can I ask one question about Unforgivable?
It's your podcast.
Did you get the name from the viral video series Unforgivable?
100%.
Wow.
I literally I remember when Andy and I were trying to come up with a name for the record, and I was like in this Bricktop studio at the time, and I was like walking out of the control room over to. Maybe we were even recording it. No, because I had written the song Unforgivable. Yeah. But it was maybe, you know what it was? It was when Andy and I were practicing some songs knowing we were about to get ready to record, right? And I remember walking and I was just thinking about the Unforgivable YouTube video and how awesome it is. And I was like, Andy, why don't we just call the record Unforgivable? Like I said that in the voice to him. And he was just like, he was like, it's an evil name or something like that. You're like, dude, it's something like that. Yeah.
To exemplify what an impact this had on our friend group, today, John texted me, "What's your address, you little pansy?" Because that is still like just part of the lexicon. That was pre-YouTube.
No, dude, Unforgivable is like as part of the English language as like Superbad and Anchorman.
Yeah,
to me, it just changed the way I process thought.
You used to be able to go on their site and play all 4 videos at the same time.
Yeah, dude. James Mills and I guess you too, we would play all 4 of them at the same time, and just like somehow that was like way funnier.
It like leveled us because it would be like, "What sport you play, you better not have no little bro." Like it would just be like 1,000 things all at once.
It'd be like, she didn't know what to say. Unforgivable.
It was so fucking funny. Woo. So, did you start writing right away?
So
like, were you contributing?
Half of Worthless was written by you, right?
Yeah, just about half of it, and actually, true to John's previously discussed potential T-shirt nickname, at first you did not want me to have any songs on the record.
Is that true? I don't remember this.
We got into it at this call center job. It had like a little internal messenger.
Oh wow!
And he and I were fighting on this. I think it was called Spark.
Sparks, yeah.
Spark Messenger.
That's right.
About how like I had songs that I wanted to bring to practice, and you were saying that like you didn't really want anybody else to have songs, and I was like, well, if I can't have songs, I'm just gonna quit.
Yeah, and I was like, no.
This is you both at work at the same time?
And we sat next to each other.
And I was
sure. So you might as well have been like,
dude, little side note. At this job, I used to be so grossed out because Drew would just pick his nose endlessly. Like literally his finger would be in his nose like for like a half hour at a time. And every time I'd be like, Drew, you've been picking your nose for a really long time. And every time he would be like, this job is boring. Like that was
Lord help it if a man has hobbies.
Yeah, straight up, dude.
I mean,
dude, I'll pick my nose for 45 straight minutes. No problem.
You know what?
You sound like my wife, John. Dude, let us be, dude.
Listen.
Can't pick my nose. Can't write any fucking songs.
Yeah, seriously. Fucking
fascist.
I never told Drew he couldn't pick his nose. I'm just saying in my head I was grossed out by this. That's all. And
sometimes it takes that long to get the one out of it.
Listen, I pick my nose for 5 hours at a time.
People are
just not at work next to somebody.
Rapidly skipping over this right now.
But he's next to his best friend.
Yeah.
So he thinks.
I mean,
I thought I was in a safe
space. You guys best friends?
Yeah, dude.
I thought I could be.
You guys
me.
Best friends?
You think you guys are best friends?
We're business associates.
Okay.
Let me put it this way. Real talk. Drew was one of 6 of my best men at my wedding. That's like the MySpace top 8, right?
Nah, I'll go fuck myself.
Yeah. Bo wasn't
You're
in there.
top 16, Bo.
I was there
I
though.
think I was.
Yep.
I think I'm his maybe 5th best friend based on the rankings because he's
Who's
got
number
his
one?
2 brothers were number 1.
No, you were 4.
I was
Eros,
4?
I think Eros was behind you.
So
And Nick
Antonio from Kansas City.
So
I think.
Eros, the guy that stole all your money,
That
is-
guy-
No, that's
is
Christian.
more of your best friend
That's
than Drew.
that's
What?
Christian.
No,
Christian.
Eros stole
Oh.
the money.
Yeah,
No,
Eros,
Eros
did
took
steal
the
them. Yeah,
I fully
Open your
misunderstood.
ears,
Yeah, dude,
Bo.
I fully misunderstood that.
yeah. That's
story.
why
Yeah.
Eros and I had beef. That's why.
Oh shit!
So-
Yep.
My
Chris
bad.
didn't pay him money, but Eros took the whole
I see.
band fund.
Right.
Drew, who's your best friend?
Probably like my cat or something.
Don't say, yeah, he was gonna say his wife.
That's such a respectable, like, you're just a nice guy, you know?
It's just me at home chilling, you know.
What about humans? Who do you like?
John's up there for sure.
He's up there.
I
Yeah.
gave a speech at his wedding.
He did give a speech at my wedding. Probably like
There you go.
I got 2. I probably got three that I would put in the running.
But I'm pretty sure you were number 4 in the list. I think it was both my brothers, Antonio, you, because people would like to say, these are all my groomsmen. No, there's always an order. Don't let anyone tell you there's not an order. And it's
Right.
the closest proximity that they're standing next to you at the altar. That's the order.
That's the rank.
Yeah,
for sure.
you can't. Otherwise, you wouldn't have anybody stand up there.
Yeah.
Oh,
Bo
the
was,
other
Bo
guy
was
who
back row, right?
I was there
You were there. A lot of people didn't get invited to my wedding.
when Drew got married. I was right here with strep throat.
Really?
he was invited, but
Dude, that
I
was
had
after-
no
It's not
wedding
really
party.
contagious, so you could have gone.
Colin, no, strep throat is extremely contagious.
Nah, debatable.
That was after either Furnace Fest or Sound and Fury with that dust shit.
Oh, that just happened.
Yeah. No. The first one or the first.
Yeah,
hard
no,
one,
I'm.
yeah.
Yeah.
I
Brutal.
To me,
celebrated
that's-
my
yeah, that's
1 year
just-
wedding anniversary on September 10th.
Very nice.
Very
Congrats,
recently.
Drew.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Who's your best friend, Bo? Chris Mills?
My best friend is
Yeah.
honestly, you're one of them.
Nice. Where would I be as the groomsman?
As a groomsman, honestly, I would
Yeah, what-
I would have to do my entire band. You'd probably be 5.
All right.
You know what I mean?
You're the
I got
top
the invite. I'm in.
non-harm's way
How many
member.
groomsmen do you get?
So you're ahead of me, and I've known him for way longer than you.
Yeah, but I
Dude,
You've put the work in.
rebirthed this man.
Yeah.
He came out of my second womb.
Dude,
you know?
like Zeus and Athena.
Straight up.
Would
dude.
I be invited to the wedding?
100%.
Excellent. I'm
Of
there.
course.
He just needs to find a fiance first.
I'm there. dude.
Holy shit. I'm about to quit the podcast.
Why?
We just want you to find love, Bo.
Yeah.
So Worthless, you guys are writing for. What were the hits on Worthless? What are the songs? Like, same question for Unforgivable.
I mean, Jock Power Violence.
That's
is
the-
That's the one.
Is
Oh
that the
my
number
God, dude,
one
that one-
song?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the
Like
song we
streams
always
and everything,
we
yeah.
always close with too.
You know what'll be interesting? Tell about your relation to the boys who fall out.
I mean, I think even probably most, I'd assume most people who listen to this podcast probably know that that band was birthed out of Chicago hardcore, even if they are not a hardcore band.
Probably not, dude.
Okay.
Honestly.
Well, so
Fallout
were-
Boy.
yeah, Fall Out Boy were in Arma Angelus right before Fall Out Boy, which were like a Damnation AD worship band pretty directly.
Bo, you sang The Boys Who Fall Out. I could not figure out what you meant.
Oh,
I was
shit.
like, what did he mean?
Damn.
So
It almost,
I
it,
had
it
no
almost, you
idea
know what?
until he
That
said
clever.
Fall Out
That
Boy.
almost sounds like some type of typo negative reference or something. The,
Dude, I straight up, because that's Fallout was
Yeah.
the band before.
Ah,
yeah, the
interesting.
boys, the Brooklyn Boot Boys, all that.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
on
and
Jock Power
Extinction, right?
Violence, Patrick from Fall Out Boy, who is a childhood friend, lent some vocals.
We were originally gonna have
Dre from Donnybrook do it,
yeah.
Oh,
who
was
also
legend.
is a Fall Out Boy connection for me. He
Yeah, big
he
time.
worked security for them.
Yeah, he was gonna do the part, and we thought. So here's the thing: we thought that was gonna be awesome because we were like, oh, like all our Power Violence fans are gonna like shit when they see this. Like they're gonna be so pissed off.
And then we took it a level further into pissing them off by having the dude from Fall Out Boy do it, who loves Power Violence. He texts me every day basically about spaz and shit. Like
Could he contractually legally do that?
He couldn't, because that's why we had to credit him as something different in the liner notes.
Yeah,
That's what I would think.
Yep.
Yeah, both. And the guitar player, Joe, plays the solo on the first song on Worthless also. So we just moved some letters around in their names and credited them that way.
No, we called Pat Patterson.
Oh, yeah. Patterson and Tro Joman.
How did he get away with the Damnation AD song?
No, he was...
Oh, no, I mean the band that a bunch of them were in right before Fall Out Boy.
No, I know, but he's on a Damnation song, too. It's a fucking banger.
Oh, yeah.
And I can't imagine he
thing.
legally would have been able to do that.
Probably did some of the same shit. I honestly
So
don't really know,
sick.
but I mean, like, also, they're at quite a scale. So, like, at some point, I think he's in a position to, kind of be like, well, I already did do it.
Yeah,
So,
yeah. What are you going to do about it?
Yeah.
Sue me, don't sue me.
So Colin, which song, which guest spot is sicker, the Damnation one or the Weekend Nachos one?
Listen, the Damnation one, he gets the whole hook, and it's a hell of a hook.
well, he does the whole breakdown of the Fall Out Boy. Or fuck,
That's
the
a-
Weekend Nachos song.
And
Yeah, see?
and
You couldn't even say it.
at
That's his band, Drew.
I'm gonna fight for this because at the last Weekend Nacho show, we had like 2 stories of people singing that part with us on the stage.
That was
just
okay.
saying.
Yeah.
Just saying.
It's pretty cool.
Nachos had Loudy had this fucking Jägermeister banner
Yep.
that he turned upside down, so the cross above the deer was upside down,
Yep.
and then
Fuck
in
yeah.
like tie dye, kind of like hippie almost.
It was like a My Little Pony bed sheet.
Yeah,
or something.
straight up. It was written.
He like cut letters out.
Oh
like
yeah.
cut Weekend Nachos letters off of this like children's bed sheet or
And
something.
I told him for 5 years, like I want that. Like, can I have that after the band is? And he said absolutely. Like you called it, and some fucker grabbed it at the last show. Like,
Took it home.
pulled it down, took it home.
No.
I don't have it.
I've got a DM from them somewhere if you want to go to their house.
Are you serious?
Oh,
if you're
dude,
out there,
let's get it.
I
Fine.
want that thing. It was
That's the backdrop.
it was promised
We gotta-
to me.
New project.
Yeah, straight up. dude.
Anyway,
Wow.
you guys eventually go to Australia. You start doing a lot more international things.
So right around, I would say Worthless, before Worthless, but right around the time of Worthless is when we went to Europe for the first time.
So
Yep.
around 2000.
And that,
This was a
Fill me in,
great
though.
story. So we get brought over there by 2 guys helped us initially who have a label there called RSR, Regurgitated Semen Records.
Yep.
Which was
Which
really
they
did
put out
the
your
CD.
Fluff Fest, live at Fluff Fest.
They did that, but they had put out the CD version that had Torture and Punish and Destroy on it together.
Yeah, that's
in
cool.
Europe.
Yep.
So it was really, exciting for me, and I'm telling my family that I'm going to Europe, and they're asking me how that's coming together, and I'm like, well, the guys from Regurgitated Semen Records are putting it all together.
Oh,
okay.
it is seriously one of the best label names.
My
like,
son's
yeah, that's
my
awesome.
son's a pervert.
dude,
Yeah.
Regurgitated Semen Records is seriously like a top 5 label name. Like,
They
It's
also
like
have,
Like
have a-
regurgitated by itself, already gross.
Yeah.
And then you maybe pick the worst, the nastiest
thing,
possible thing.
You
Not
just-
even cum, semen.
seriously, like
You're giving me medical term.
I picture someone like swallowing a load and then like maybe even like forcing themselves to throw up like cum from their
Oh my
throat. Like
god. How
this is
did
a-
we get here?
this is the best label name ever. I'm just saying.
Yeah,
What is happening?
but like
it's extreme.
what I'm saying there is like every step of this journey, even like the positive big ones of like we're going to Europe the first time, are tainted by something absolutely fucking moronic.
Yeah,
Totally. And like
you'll never escape regurgitated.
Dude, was this the time when Andy had his bag lost?
Oh, dude.
Dude,
So
Colin.
first time going overseas, like I book our flights. We've got a tight layover, Chicago to New York to Berlin. So we land in New York and we get off the tarmac and we need to just like sprint to the flight New York to Berlin. We get off the plane, and we had gate checked some bags, and our guitar player's bag is not there. And we kind of say something, and they're like, it's just gonna get moved, onto your plane, no problem. It's just not here. Don't grab it, but it'll make it.
Me when I lie.
Yeah, exactly. So anyway, we sprint, we get on the fucking plane, we land. Nothing. This is maybe like a 30-day tour or something. All of his shit doesn't show up.
Was it winter?
Wait, no, it was like
October.
It was like 2 weeks.
No, the first one was when we did a whole bunch more.
Oh, you're right.
And we did
it was probably
UK.
3.5 weeks.
Yeah, we were there for like 30 days and like
Holy
26 shows or something like that.
Dude, I
But
forgot.
so literally, we get there, his clothes aren't there. We do we're in Berlin for like the first 2 days or something, chilling. Never shows up. And we find out they sent all of his clothes to Egypt.
So this dude had nothing. So he had to go to like H&M and shit and buy an entire wardrobe.
That rules.
Egypt?
But yeah, we no fucking clue how. It was waiting for him back in Chicago when we returned home from the tour.
So
How many flights go to Egypt, really?
So you know what happened.
A month.
You know what happened next. Regurgitated Seaman Records flew us to Egypt to finish out our tour. And that's
We got the clothes.
But yeah, it was a rough start to and that first day where we found out his shit hadn't arrived and was going nowhere. I believe Andy also lost his iPod while we were just like chilling in Berlin. So we found out he had no clothes. Andy lost his iPod. So
and no music for Andy.
Which at
And
the
Andy
time,
without his music.
it was
Dude,
it
also,
was brutal. I
at the-
felt fucking horrible.
at
for
the
this
time
guy.
phones didn't fucking work over there.
Yeah.
Oh,
So
dude.
if you don't have your iPod, you're fucked.
Oh my god, you're absolutely fucked.
I don't remember any of this.
You blacked it out, dude.
I don't know.
How was Europe for nachos?
Awesome.
Yeah, you guys see
I
that.
think because we're
that
able
figures.
to straddle, like you were saying, we got a little bit of the metal. The crust people like us, which was a huge thing in Europe
Totally.
for nachos.
Totally. Dude, Weekend Nachos, like, I mean, I think this is the same for a lot of bands, but maybe not. But like a lot of bands like that have the power violence crossover appeal, we all play in squats. Like that's where some of the best shows are, because squats in Europe are like, they're run. I mean, you've been there, like
They're like common.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. They're like
Like rebel squats where amazing shows happen.
yeah,
Every city has.
It's
exactly.
like every
Yeah.
weekend.
I mean, and that was every single show except for one of like 26 shows the first time we went to Europe. We played
Do they ever
one
see you
festival.
guys and go, "Oh, this is what they look like"?
Yeah.
They're expecting like spike-haired leather jacket guys.
Yeah, and
then-
it was like a dude in green shorts and a Turning Point t-shirt.
Dude, and this was at the time when I had that knockoff Bape hoodie too. Like,
Oh, dude, well, whose was that?
that was
Cronin.
originally either Cronin's,
Cronin's,
or Eric Blum or
Cronin,
something.
I
Oh
think,
my
yeah.
god,
It
you
passed-
wore that thing all the fucking time.
All the time. It zipped
And it
all
had
the
the
way
full
up.
zip.
Yeah,
Yeah,
all
you
the
could
way up.
zip all the way up, and like, yeah, it was like it was not a Bape hoodie, but it was like a knockoff, and it had like diamonds on it. It was
Yeah,
pink.
like diamonds
That's
and
awesome.
dollar signs. I think the actual first Weekend Nacho show I ever played was us, Black Dahlia Murder, and Soylent Green. And I think at some point during that set,
And
you
I-
just had the microphone inside, like zipped all the way up.
It's so cool.
Yeah, we played with that was in like Moline or
No, it
something
was at Gabe's Oasis in Iowa.
in Iowa. Yeah, I don't remember.
Drew the vault, dude.
Yeah, seriously, he's got
Well, it
it.
was my first show, so you know that one sticks.
Oh, you're
I
right.
don't remember how we got that show.
The guy, someone in Black Dahlia Murder just liked us. I think.
It had, dude. Trevor, like
put on
forever was
yeah.
the guy listening to new bands.
Yes,
Dude, that's awesome. And like, obviously rest in peace.
yeah,
But like
100%.
that's like I'm remembering a lot from
I
this.
think maybe we knew somebody that was like touring, working for them also, or something.
Gotcha.
But it was a blast. But that fucking hoodie, we found it that day
So
in
cool.
Bricktop, and John just like zipped the mic into it and was like running around, unable to see anything, screaming.
What year, Colin? What year was the Sound and Fury that got shut down? The motorcycle year, 10. we played that one, and then the motorcycle happened during Backtrack right after us.
Yeah.
And then the show got canceled. Most of that fest went to an amazing show.
The crazy Oxnard backyard.
The backyard thing. Nachos were playing LA that night. And
It was at the Boulevard.
I think you were pissed about it. But we jumped on the show and played a couple songs.
Why would I be pissed about that?
I don't know. I just remember a vibe that like it was like, oh, first they jump into our van on the fly out thing a few years ago, and now they're jumping onto this. I remember it.
You know
not
what?
being,
I'm a lot of things, but that would not have been something I felt.
Okay.
Yeah, like it might have been if there was anything about it, it might have been related to something else that might have gotten like messed up with that show. I don't know.
Drew wasn't there. He had back surgery.
Wow.
And so Nachos played as a 3-piece, which was crazy. Andy did the thing with the splitter and
course.
out of the octave thing, and just they fucking, they rocked. Loudy.
We sounded just as good without Drew.
Loudy.
That's what Bo was trying to say in a nice way.
I was just saying you wouldn't have known anything was missing.
Yeah, and Andy is very
even
talented,
worse.
is what we're
Very
saying.
good.
I mean,
Loudy,
he gets paid to do that for other bands now.
Right.
So it makes sense.
Let's talk about Loudy wearing like blindfolds, ball gags, thongs, and that's it.
This is Brian, right?
Brian
Yes.
Loudy.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
he's going to go by Byron
Looters.
Looters.
Byron
Which
Looters.
Bo's brother.
I'm going to set the record straight finally. We are brothers. We share a last name.
Okay.
We didn't grow up together. We're fucking brothers. It's not a big deal.
True.
I didn't know that Loudy was him because I've
Yeah.
been like, when does Brian?
Yeah, that's Brian. Yeah.
to me, Brian is such a visual,
Yes.
such a huge visual part of the identity of Weekend Nachos.
Yes.
Yeah,
Because
definitely.
he was always doing this crazy stuff.
Dude, one of my
back there.
favorite fucking pictures, it's on a shirt that I have somewhere, is where he's on the dolly. He's in thigh high, like fishers, like mud boots, thigh high, naked.
Which all of that we found at the
At the
studio because
studio.
the studio, for some reason, is also in a warehouse of fisherman gear.
And like he's blindfolded, ball gag, naked with thigh high rubber boots on.
And I think I
strapped-
duct taped him
Yeah.
to a dolly.
duct taped to the dolly, and
Awesome.
they're all just straight faced, and Brian's just in the ball gag.
And I remember like I wore my Bart Simpson sweatshirt for that photo, and I was like, was looking at the picture after, and I was like, I actually look like I'm 10 years old in this picture,
Dude, but I
standing next to this naked like snuff victim.
yeah.
Gimp guy, yeah.
Dude, but I the reason I bring it up is because during your set that
At the
we jumped
Boulevard?
on,
At
yeah,
the
that Drew
Boulevard?
wasn't on, Cronin and I were watching Loudy, and he was just staring at us for a whole song, right? So he was just a whole song just staring at us, drooling with this ball gag in. Fucking up, missing parts, but just and it was just like
Just committed to the bit.
I remember, I think I could
Defined committed.
I
to
could be wrong. I think he tried to play a part physically turned backwards.
Oh yeah, he did that at all the shows. he sometimes would like
Colin,
stand up and turn around. And
Stand up, turn around. Your right foot is now on the hi-hat. Your left foot is the kick, and you're playing behind your back. Yes. He would do
That wouldn't work too good.
It didn't sound great.
it never work.
Dude. Okay, so
But you remember it, and that's
God, I really
Oh,
do.
yeah.
I really
the
do.
experience.
one of my favorite things that I've ever seen Lottie do is when we were playing in France at that surf shop. And it was like late. Like you don't go surfing at night. Not even surfers do that, right?
No, it's dangerous and it's cold.
Right. And we had already been in this water earlier and it was freezing. And Lottie was playing I think he was in his ball gag, right? Probably.
At this era, almost for
Yeah,
sure.
yeah. And we're playing at some surf shop in like France, somewhere on like a coast of
Yeah, like
France.
coming like up by Spain.
Yeah. And we finish our set, and before I could even turn around, Lottie had grabbed a giant surfboard off of the wall of the surf shop and just sprints out of the venue, runs into the ocean, and starts surfing.
Pretty sure fully nude.
Can he surf?
I don't know. But like I actually was like, he's gonna die. Like,
It was probably like 3 a.m. or something because it was that kind of a European gig.
yeah.
And was the shop like, suck it,
no, like I think like part of my concern also was like, oh yeah, we're gonna like get in trouble.
We're gonna
now.
have to pay for this fucking surfboard.
Yeah,
now.
100%.
He just like came back like I want to say like 10 minutes later maybe, and was just like soaking wet with the surfboard, and he was like, dude, did you just go surfing? And he's like, yeah, the water is cold. I'm like,
Yeah.
what in God's fuck is wrong with this dude?
Wow.
When
He's
did-
living the gimmick, man.
When did Black Earth come out?
Like the 7. That was a single for Worthless.
Oh, okay.
So that
Okay.
was like a 7-inch single that came out like before Worthless.
I was
this
just
is one of the things about Weekend Nachos that's really weird, I think, actually, is that so all of these CDs and like streaming shit we were doing with Relapse, before every LP, we would put out a 7-inch on A389, and then the vinyl LPs all came out on Deep Six.
oh.
So we worked with like 3 labels at all times during the period that we were
network.
like a real band,
Oh
quote
my
unquote.
Yeah.
Crazy.
But like we never had a contract with anyone ever.
You just
But
remind
those are the little things that make like the Weekend Nachos audience.
Totally.
They like
I mean,
that.
Yeah.
dude, if you think about it, like not every band that plays MDF is going to play 8-3-8-9. Not every band that plays some basement with power violence bands that are less known,
Yeah.
is going to play 8-3-8-9 or MDF, like,
Right.
but like that's the thing. Like, I mean, at one point, like we were like gonna play with like regular hardcore bands like Trapped Under Ice or something like that. Like I just feel like I don't know what got inside us to like diversify our audience this much, but like somehow
Was it intentional or did it just happen?
I think
It seemed intentional.
I always wanted to like bridge more gaps.
Yeah.
Like when I was doing the band, like I was really all about. What's funny is I would say I'm probably not as much like this now in my older age, but at the time when all throughout Nachos, I really just never wanted people to feel like they couldn't come to a certain show. Like
Huh.
I never
But
ever.
now you want them.
It's not quite as opposite as I'm making it sound, but I think that I it doesn't bother me as much if there's division.
Yeah.
I think that there's a place for like some shows to just happen independently of other scenes.
Yeah.
Like I think that that's okay. I think
But before you wanted everybody all the time?
yeah, I remember always feeling that way.
That's what it is now.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Yeah.
Totally. Yeah. But see, it's different though. It's
But I
different.
think it has nothing to do with like wanting to play different kinds of shows. I think it's something that John has always been. I mean, John is the dude on the Bridge 9 board that you're like, I don't know this guy, but he's like the ultimate
fucker.
shit talking fucker ever.
Yeah.
But he's also the dude that is like, 4 LPs into Weekend Nachos' existence, have toured
100%.
5 countries or whatever. And he's like, oh, like you're a 16-year-old from Indianapolis? Like, we'll come play your fucking graduation party. Like, John was just like, dude, if you like us, we like you.
That's true.
And there was no like calculation to it of growing the band. It was just like, punk and hardcore did something for John as like admittedly a weird kid that he wanted to make sure everybody else had.
Sure.
It's very, very heartfelt but well spoken, I will say.
You just
Yes.
reminded me of something. Harm's Way and Nachos did we did like Louisville, Indianapolis. Yeah, small.
Atlanta.
Holy shit, that's a story.
Oh,
I'll tell.
that bad?
I'll tell that story. But go ahead.
The Weekend Nachos van was a very
it was a big.
sad environment, we'll say, in terms of comfort.
We played. We'll get.
Oh, that was. I was going to tell the story about the knife during the.
Oh, that
during-
too.
Yeah. Anyway,
dude. We were in Indianapolis, and you were like, it was the song Black Earth, and you were like, this song is about recycling and voting and being polite and a whole bunch of other shit I don't care about. Some of my favorite like in between song banter is legitimately out of this guy.
He was born for banter. Let me ask you this though, Joe. Okay, you guys can confirm something for me. Bo has said to me many times, Chicago doesn't recycle.
So Chicago has,
Yeah.
I think it is less than 9% of what is put in recycling bins actually gets recycled.
Yeah.
Hey, Colin.
There's like a weird.
I do be lying, but not all the time.
You do.
Okay, so also my understanding is that there are like it's very strict about what they will accept.
Yeah.
Because
There's reasoning for, like if there's a drop of water in it, you can't recycle.
Which is
Yeah.
insane.
yeah, it
it is.
We
but
can't figure that out. We
It's
can't come up with
maybe
something.
we're getting there.
Yeah, maybe. I hope so.
But no,
Your
that
guys'
is a
homes
real
have
stat.
recycle bins in them.
They do,
Well,
but like
he lives
you're
in-
just
he lives
doing
in
as
the-
good as you can.
I mean, I recycle.
He lives
Me
in the
too.
he lives in the burbs. He doesn't live in the city.
Oh, okay.
But like
I love recycle.
but like Drew, how many places have you lived at in the city where there's no recycling bin? It's just a dumpster.
So the way Chicago also does it is if you have a single family home, the city provides you with recycling. If
Oh,
you
wow.
are a landlord and have, like Bo lives in an apartment building, that landlord has to pay for recycling. So then they just don't do it.
It never happens.
It's funny we're talking about
There
recycling
it
now
is.
because we were just talking about the song Black Earth, which is about
Greenpeace.
littering and destroying. Yeah, I mean, I wrote it about a time where I got mad because a guy from Greenpeace tried to talk to me on my way to work.
So this is a pro littering anthem.
Yes, somehow
Wait, how soon after this did Yes Way happen? It was 2013.
that was the next record.
Perfect timing.
They put out the Live at Fluff Fest thing the year after Harm's Way was almost ran out of Fluff Fest.
So let's brief. I have a reason for bringing this up. So for anybody who doesn't know, I'll really quickly say Harm's Way was on a fest with Twitching Tongues with Colin, and
Right on.
we were Harm's Way was being God. They wanted to cancel us over a shirt with James.
Pre-cancel.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah, exactly. They were trying to get us kicked off the fest and literally canceled off the fest, but kind of in the public eye.
You can hear more about it in episode 2.
Yeah,
But
exactly.
wasn't it? It wasn't because of a shirt.
It was
No, it was the shirt.
It was the shirt that said "Provide, Protect, Procreate, Our Pledge to Women," but it's a typo ripoff shirt.
Right,
It's all
right.
tongue in cheek.
Right.
But then also they pulled from like "Warriors Will Reign," "Blood So Pure." They took as like a white nationalist thing, which it's literally about straight edge. It has nothing.
Straight
to
edge.
do.
All right, right. Time out. Okay, two things, right? Colin, you'll like this because you're like Mr. Devil's Advocate, right?
Not really.
All right, fine.
To play devil's advocate, I'm not really.
You motherfucker. All right, so Devil's Advocate here.
Yeah.
And keep in mind, I understand typo negative. Okay, I
Yeah.
understand Peter Steele. I'm very influenced by Peter Steele.
Yeah.
Love the band, right? Can you understand why ripping off typo negative would put that in a group of people's heads?
Of course.
Okay.
100%.
Okay.
Well, like without a shadow of a doubt. But literally all it takes is like, hey, do you guys mean that? No, we just thought it was funny for James to be drawn as a cartoon, and this quote is on the shirt. We're just
Totally.
ripping off the shirt. That-
Totally. I
the
get
the
I get
drawing
that.
of James as that existed before we decided to do the shirt.
No, I get that. And I do agree that all it would take is a conversation. You could say that about a lot of things.
Of course.
Right? Now, I'm
Especially most things involving Peter Steele is like you can't do now.
I thought
you
now part two of this is I thought that I was almost sure of this, and I know I was sure of this when I wrote the song, which we're going to talk about.
Yeah.
I thought that they wanted to cancel you guys because strictly for no other reason than they saw James as like a macho guy that would like take off his shirt, and they thought that you were like they equated that with some type of like machismo.
Misogyny.
It was all about the idea of the patriarchy.
Okay.
And the shirt fits into that when the quote literally says our
Right.
pledge to women. But yes, the James shirtless thing was like, oh, this is hyper masculinity. This
Right.
is toxic.
Okay.
That was added. That was like,
it was all,
okay, well, what else?
yeah.
Got it. Okay.
Yes, exactly. And
So
then
anyway.
along with the Warriors Will Reign lyric.
So anyway,
So they tried to cancel us. Nothing happened. Simple as that.
right.
The Facebook group,
They started a Facebook
Dude, the
group.
Facebook group was literally, if you look at it, still exists. Go find Yes or No Way for Harm's Way. The Facebook group is literally liked by Colin Young, Taylor Young, Drew Brown. Like it's literally
Peter Cook.
That's
all
awesome.
of our friends. But anyway, that happened in which nothing happened. We never played it again. But our Fluff Fest, like a band that you would assume would always be on Fluff Fest, or like that, the very left side of.
We played it once, right?
Sure,
Yeah.
but I'm just saying that you would assume,
Oh yeah. We're the type of the band to play that for sure.
They wrote
100%.
a song called "Yes Way" as a fuck you to those people trying to cancel us over something so silly.
Yeah, the lyrics are awesome.
And
They're
truly, what more like that to me as your friend and as like we've said 100 times already, a band that's like growing alongside of you.
Yeah.
Could not have meant more.
Yeah, I mean, it totally contradicts what you and James said about me on that episode of HardLore. So
Sure does. But also contradicts.
It was a defense track about a band that
I'm just kidding.
you exited,
Yeah.
not really on your terms.
Yeah.
Right.
So that just means you're a better friend.
He's just a good friend.
I will say this. Regardless of how great or not great of a friend I am, this group of friends is like really fucking tight. And like I'm everything we've said, like more so earlier in this episode, but like it truly solidifies like Weekend Nachos and Harm's Way is like, I mean, like you couldn't find a better pair of bands that have like existed alongside each
This
other.
fucking guy, he's got like 8 of them.
Well, yeah,
I'm in 'em, though.
but
That's not
but
the
you know
same.
what? We're from the Midwest.
Yeah.
It doesn't count for
Yeah.
people on the
Whoa.
West Coast.
Yeah, we don't say
Great
Midwest
Lakes,
in
right?
this house. We say Great Lakes.
Oh, okay.
Thank you.
We're from the Great Lakes.
One
Right.
of the better antagonistic things I think your band would do was the era of just putting a celebrity on a shirt and then just your name.
Yep, we did.
Or a not celebrity,
Or-
like Boy
yeah.
Sets Fire.
Yeah, the Boy Sets Fire shirt is my favorite merch item that we've ever done.
Maybe
How did
our
that
least
go about?
popular merch item ever, too.
Yeah, we made
really?
30. We made 30 pieces of this item, and it took us, I think, 6 years to sell all of them.
We used to just like make really stupid shirts, and we would have like, the bag of like $5 fails underneath our merch
Yeah.
table everywhere. And we had Boy Sets Fire shirts for like 5 years.
Was it just
probably
a
in there.
promo picture of them?
So
Yeah.
it's like a promo picture of them when they like got on like a major label or something. So it looked like they had been like styled.
Yeah, it was like them.
okay.
It was like a glossy, like fancy promo picture of Boy Sets Fire. And I took it and I, did the signature like box around it with the Weekend Nachos Arial black font above it.
Yeah.
And
And
that's
we
it.
didn't, and that's it. That was the whole
It's just,
shirt.
it's just
the
a,
shirt.
a picture of Boy Sets Fire, but it says Weekend Nachos instead. And
How did you get the Nacho picture disc?
Oh, dude. He does. You know what the worst part about that is? He doesn't even have one.
no, I do
you
now.
serious?
I do
Oh,
now.
you got one?
Yeah, I ended
For a
up.
long time
I
you
had to
didn't
buy it.
Man,
I-
one of the
I
coolest
think Andy and I don't have them.
items.
It's a
You don't have-
it's a 5-inch, right?
It's an 8. It's technically an 8-inch, but it's shaped in a triangle.
Right.
And but the triangle is like rounded. Is rounded.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's a screen.
Well,
there's a,
tortilla chip.
yeah, there's a screen printed Beavis and Butthead nacho on it.
And it's it's triangular, but there's like a 5-inch in the middle.
Right.
Right? That's
Right.
how it is.
And the dude that made them is from New Zealand, and it was like the project was delayed for a little while because he lost his eye in a car accident.
Holy shit.
And the dude like still made the records.
Fuck yeah.
Wow.
Amazing.
Those
And
are
it's the material from the Relapse comp.
Yeah, it's just the 4 songs that we did for the Relapse comp, but like 50 copies of this exist. And
how
it's like
much you pay for it?
$40.
Not bad.
Yeah, I mean, I saw one go on Discogs for $300,
Yeah.
which
Fuck
is
yeah.
insane.
That's crazy.
That's like a
You also did
I mean, that's one of the coolest things ever. Press.
that's like
100%.
that's like a Wind of Pain. 300?
Straight up, dude.
Like
100%.
why
Wind of Pain might be cheaper than that
why is anything that I've done as expensive as a Wind of Pain? That
because
is,
it's a nacho.
yeah.
you know
Well,
what?
and you have a Japanese band name.
Yeah, you know what? When I think about the fact that it's a Beavis and Butthead screens, I mean, yeah, it should be worth much more than a Wind of Pain.
Much
so
more.
I also love the direct didn't jock power violence, wasn't that used as like a derogatory term for you guys?
it started with Mind Eraser. So people started calling Mind Eraser Jock Power Violence. Then they started calling us Jock Powerviolence. Then they started calling.
Look at us. Like, what the fuck are you talking about?
Yeah.
Which is funny because I think that song has double meaning for some people, because I think that like people that
fucking Jock Powerviolence piece of shit.
Yeah.
They think
like,
you're talking shit.
Yeah.
Right. I think that some people think
Right.
that. And then but really, like, we're almost writing it from the perspective of nobody except for us. Right?
Yeah.
It's like, but yeah, the song is just about like power violence purists. Like, I mean, it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dude, the best is the fucking, I have one, the crew neck gray athletic sweatshirt that just says Weekend Nachos, Jock Powerviolence, and then just has a football.
A clip art football.
Clip art football.
Dude, so Google image search before they changed it in like 2016, I think.
Oh, dude.
Google image
The
search.
gold mine.
Yeah, it was a
You
gold mine.
used to be able to specifically search for like 600 DPI, like high contrast images. And I found a clip art website that had like really high contrast. And it was like it was one of those clip art with like the background, like there was no background. So you could just
PNG,
save
a
it and
transparent
immediately
PNG.
put it
Yeah.
right onto whatever you were making. And so, yeah, it's just a clip art football. We're going to reprint them.
You know what's hilarious?
First they took that, then they took Mediafire. What's next? You know?
Colin,
Dude,
you know what's hilarious about
Mediafire.
that? You saying a transparent background PNG. This man has an art degree and also made the Freddy Krueger in Microsoft Paint, right?
I made the Weekend Nachos logo in Microsoft Paint. What I did was I made it. I drew it in Microsoft Paint, and then I enlarged it so it looked like
Even worse.
it looked so bad. Like, and then I
Wow.
put a border around it, and to this day, it's on a shirt that we sell.
Wow. Do you remember the B9 threads where it was like make something in MS Paint and post it?
Of course, yeah.
Were you part of those?
No, this was way before that.
Wow.
This was 2000. Well, I guess.
I'm just saying, were you posting? Were you
No.
participating in those
I
at
didn't.
all?
I never made any more MS Paint art after that.
That was your only one.
The
time
debut,
you
dude.
made the logo.
Yeah, but I remember that the reason I did it like that, like partly to make sure it looked shitty,
Yeah.
right? But like also because I just like really wanted to make a shirt for this show that we were doing, and I had no other means of making a design, so I just drew it in MS Paint and like
That's awesome.
blew it up and put a border around it in Photoshop, and I probably could have made a much nicer logo in Photoshop.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, 100%. That's what it's for.
Yeah,
Which is like another perfect example
No,
of
that's
this band.
it's the
Yeah.
perfectly shitty versions of something that you are fully capable of doing professionally.
Grab your
the Weekend Nachos store.
oh yeah.
Grab that artwork real quick. I have a self portrait. John lived with me for a short period of time. Lived with me
That's fun.
and my ex in this apartment.
What did you guys do together?
A whole lot of nothing, but we worked together at H&M as well.
Yep.
At that time.
I lived here for 2 months. It was awesome. I was in between relationships. It was amazing.
This is John. This is a self portrait
Oh
By
shit.
John.
by John.
You had bangs?
It's a hoodie. But he also did. You kind of
Oh.
did have
Oh
bangs.
no, those are bangs.
yeah,
Those are bangs. Yeah,
that's right. That's
definitely.
right. On the back is an inscription for me. It says, "Bo, always believe in yourself. With love, John Caution."
What a fucking prophet.
And that lives on the wall.
I forgot that you had that.
Yeah.
I think Aros had it. Right?
Aros has. You did a series.
There was a
Yeah.
series, yeah.
There's a series. One is of you in a Zero skateboarding hoodie punching Jesus.
Fuck yeah, dude.
That-
I want that one.
That Bernie from
Bernie's
You
got
and the
that
Pro-
one?
You and the
Bernie's hit me up, dude. I need that one.
Dude,
need to inquire about.
he will not let me have that back.
No, it's gone.
All this, what we're saying, this is why Weekend Nachos, we're dying for it. It's back now.
Yeah.
Thank God.
That's what I said earlier. I was like, I think we're gonna be fine because
Yeah.
I'm like reviewing all this, and I'm like, like this all still makes sense to me. Like everything that
Even more so.
Yeah, for sure.
Do you have
You're ahead of your time.
So we haven't. So Harm's Way hasn't been playing shows for a long time now.
Right.
You guys haven't been playing shows for longer. When was the last show? 2017.
Correct.
Right?
Yep.
January
January,
2017.
But because of HardLore, I'm keenly aware of like how the music scene is, how live shows are,
Right.
ticket sales, merch sales, things like this.
Right.
How do you feel about kind of getting back into the world of
I will say,
live music?
and Drew can attest to this. Like
I dragged him kicking and screaming.
yeah, I
Wow.
had to be like, I mean, yeah, it was a struggle for me to accept that this was a good idea.
Really?
Right?
Yeah. I mean, like, people have been reaching out to us, like, some of them, I think, because they just don't fucking pay attention to the world at all.
Sure.
And we're like, we broke up January 27th or 17th or whatever the fuck.
It was early. It was January 3rd and 4th, I think.
Yeah.
Okay, there we go.
Yeah.
So by like January 15th, then somebody was like, hey, you guys want to come play Cleveland? And it was like, dude, we broke up fucking 2 weeks ago. Like, what are you
It
talking
was a
about?
whole thing.
And that you literally can't take that seriously, obviously, because
But-
it's like
No, it's awesome.
Shortly thereafter, people were like, hey, will you come play this fest? Well, like at a time where it was like, dude, we broke up like a year ago. Like,
Yeah.
if we're going to get back together, it's going to be, like, God forbid, but, like our buddy's sick
We're
or
gonna
lost
play-
his house,
if we're gonna-
for a reason.
if we're gonna get back together, we're gonna play with God forbid.
Exactly.
And that's all
Yeah.
there is to it.
But
they gotta be on their way back now.
probably. Or maybe they never stopped. Tons of these bands
No,
just
they
were,
did.
were
'Cause
going.
The homie Doc Coyle, dude. He's in Bad Wolves now.
Oh.
Even after we broke up, we like always said like never say never. Like
Yeah.
we weren't ever one of those bands that were like, we're breaking up, that's it, done. But we knew like our original run was over, and that remains true. Like there's nothing that's gonna change that, right? So yeah, go on.
Yeah. I'll try and make this have a flow.
Hit me, Drew. Blow me.
So, we were getting those offers almost immediately, and we're just kind of like, no way, and wouldn't take any of them seriously. A few years later, a few offers would come in from people that had a connection to the band back in the day. So it was like, okay, this is like kind of legit. Like this guy maybe helped us a bunch in Europe, and he's asking if we would play. And we would have those conversations like, will we do this? And the answer was always no. And then for me, at least, and I'm the one that kind of started this conversation, COVID happened and didn't see anyone, didn't do anything, didn't go anywhere. And, hardcore was always like this community of people, and we were lucky enough to experience it all over the whole world.
Yeah.
And it felt like we had missed being anywhere, and that people again started reaching out to us like, hey, would you guys want to play? And it was at a point where I was like, I haven't left my fucking house in 2 years. Like, it would be awesome to see my friends again and even play music with my friends again. Like I hadn't been playing with John for a while at that point, hadn't played with Lottie. So we got an offer that we almost accepted last year. And we just ended up turning it down still.
No, there's something. There's a reason we have to wait.
Well, we
About
did
a
want it
year
to
from now.
have a purpose.
Yeah.
Which, like, this is 2024 will be 20 years since the band started, which feels meaningful in a way that
Same.
19 years didn't. And then some friends of mine, like a guy who was actually in like the very first hardcore band I was ever in junior high here,
Landmine.
called Landmine. Yeah.
One of the first bands I ever got into.
Hard name.
Yeah.
Dude, they were awesome.
Fast, right?
Yeah,
Super fast.
they were like a. Well, you guys would have considered yourself grindcore, right?
Yeah, I think
I felt
like,
like you got
it was
more of
like
a power-
grindy punk thing.
Yeah. Dude,
and-
the lyrics were amazing.
So he went on to do sort of like a mainstream emo or whatever you would call it band called Spitalfield.
Mainstreamo.
Yeah, that like put out a record on Victory in 2003 that did very well. So this year is the 20th anniversary of that. And their drummer could not play any of their anniversary shows. So I actually went out and toured with them and kind of had the experience that I feel like HardLore has been talking about, where you're like, yeah, like touring is fucking lit right now. You know, it's awesome.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what like our friends in Full of Hell and Primitive Man have been saying us too. Like, man, touring is awesome right now. And I got to experience it firsthand. Nachos was getting these offers to play again. And when I was able to kind of go out and experience touring, even in a nostalgic way, and be like, you know what? Like, I certainly had reservations about nostalgia, but like, I went out there, I did it. I had so much fun playing with my friends, playing music, traveling. I came back to everybody and was just like, yo, like, we're getting these offers, and like, I just did this with a band that doesn't, you know, it still means something to me. These Spitalfield guys are my great friends. I was around for the making of this album, but it wasn't my band. And I was like, if I can feel awesome going out and playing shows with this thing that's like tangentially important to me, like, dude, if we go out and play, like, it's now. Now is the time.
Yeah, and like, you know, look, you can always when you're
Here
like
comes Bridge 9 shit.
Yeah, no, when you're like a certain age and you think you know everything, right?
Yeah.
You haven't lived really at all, you know. You can say all kinds of shit and make up all kinds of shit about why you don't want to do this. Like, case in point, perfect that we brought up me quitting that band over the Gorilla Biscuit show.
Yeah.
You know, like whatever. And it's not to say that those like reasons don't mean anything, but it's like everybody is subject to at one point be like, yeah, why the fuck wouldn't we do this?
You're right.
Right?
Yeah.
I mean, there is literally no conceivable reason based on all the things that Drew's saying. At some point, it's like, yeah, those reasons start to outweigh whatever you thought might have been the reason that you either didn't want to do something or felt that you shouldn't. Right?
Right.
So, yeah, man.
At the end of the day, I think the way that I phrased it to everybody was like, I feel like playing some shows. Like that's fucking it.
Yeah.
But that's the thing. In 2016, you didn't feel like playing shows anymore.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
And we
Why-
also
why
thought
force it?
at that point we couldn't, like, Weekend Nachos was a band that for X amount of years had operated like this. We toured the States every year. We toured Europe every year. We did a record every 2 years. And we didn't want to do it that way anymore. And it felt like it couldn't be Weekend Nachos if it wasn't that way. But with perspective, I don't think that's actually true.
Right, of course.
Right. Well, I mean, Full of Hell that you brought up earlier is maybe number one proof that Weekend Nachos should not have gone away. Because my God, those boys grinded until they built an empire.
True.
Yeah.
They're very
I want to
hardworking.
say their first tour ever, and this is a testament to sort of what I was talking about when I had my heartfelt statement about John being a weirdo with a heart of gold, is I can't remember if it was Spencer or Dylan.
It's
But
probably,
one of them,
probably Dylan.
I think, messaged John on like MySpace at that time on Full of Hell's first East Coast tour ever, that like they couldn't get shows and they liked us and we had shows. So John was just like, yeah, some like guys messaged me and want to play these shows. So I put them on these ones.
It's awesome.
It actually is, now that like you're mentioning this, like it is insane to think that band is Full of Hell.
And
It
they
was like,
repaid the favor times a million by taking us to Japan like 5 years later.
They're fucking awesome.
yeah, and I definitely insisted that we open for them because that was like a point, like that was a discussion that we had, Dylan and I, like who's gonna open for who in Japan, and I was just like, dude, it is time for us to open for you. Like that is this
That's
is
awesome.
This is the point where, you know, the whole Blue Oyster
Kiss, Blue Oyster Cult.
Blue Oyster Cult Kiss thing. Can't even talk.
What was that? What's that thing?
Cobo Hall to the day.
Yep. Dude, I'm glad
Blue
you
Oyster
got.
Cult.
Yeah, I'm glad you got the reference.
I got you.
Yeah,
I got you.
It's like
1 year apart.
Yeah.
Yep.
Kiss opened for Blue Oyster Cult. 1 year later, Blue Oyster Cult opened for Kiss.
And like willingly, or was it like
It was no. They had Kiss had vastly exceeded their size
Yeah.
within that 1 year.
And so it's like one of those things. Like I don't want to be that type of band that like feels like we should play after a band for like some dumb reason, like we can't.
Semantics.
Yeah, like we can't fucking get over ourselves or some shit like that. You know, like that is obviously off the table, like that mindset. But yeah, I was like so excited to have it be reversed and go with them. You know, it just like it felt so good because like you see the work that's put in. You see like a band like Full of Hell that's just like lives for this shit and doesn't stop. You know, like they would have gone on to do that with or without us.
Maybe.
But you know, it's still cool to know that we had something to do with that in the beginning.
And you guys are definitely two bands that never for 1 second compromised who you were.
For sure.
And that led you to going, I don't want to play shows for a few years.
Yeah.
And that's awesome. And that led to them going, we're going to play shows forever until the wheels fucking fall off. And now it's nice for me to see that you guys got to the point where it's like, okay, we want to do this again. Because that's when, like, when we start to treat these bands as like businesses or just as everything's a cycle, like you were saying, Drew.
Yeah.
The reason you started the band is gone. The reason you want to be there is sucked out. It's an obligation. Mm-hmm. And that the Weekend Nachos of today is by choice, baby.
Absolutely.
You're eating them motherfucking nachos because you want to.
I mean, I will say that like now
because Drew wants to.
Now that we're past like the stage where like I had to kind of like see why this was like a great thing. It's like I don't even question it anymore. It's just something I'm excited about. You know, it just.
Have you practiced yet?
Yeah,
twice without John.
Without John,
because he lives far away.
Yeah, I live far away, and honestly, like when we
did our plans or what?
When we did our first run, like they practiced without me all the time too.
So, dude.
Okay.
So we're a band where I think sort of like yourself, like John can play guitar or bass or drums. I can barely play guitar and can play bass and drums. So we were always lucky enough to be able to work on music in like multiple configurations as long as one person of Brian, John, or I was there to play drums.
That's awesome.
Mm-hmm. So we were able to make music really quickly.
And I have to say, so Harm's Way is still in the same practice building, but we're in another room that's like a couple doors down. And we were practicing the other night, and I was like getting stuff set up, and I hear them practicing down the hall, and it was like, it felt awesome.
Dude, that's amazing.
Felt like the old days, you know what I mean? It was just like, whoa, Nachos are practicing and Harm's Way is about to practice, and we have this show coming up together.
Dude.
And how cool is it that like we went from right at the beginning we talked about the first California trip when we played the Locust House in San Jose.
Oh man.
Which like, you know, and like some of those guys remember that and it's talked about or whatever, but like realistically there was like 30, 40 people there.
Totally. But wasn't that dude from Gulch at that show?
I think he said
he's everywhere.
Yeah. So like the
reason I keep bringing him up is because like me being like somewhat out of touch, like I think of Gulch as like one of the bigger bands that's happened in like the last.
They absolutely are.
Yeah. So like it's just like what I think.
And
of.
interestingly, a lot of other Bay bands also are currently.
Yeah, like Tsunami,
and Drain.
Drain's from the Bay. I didn't even know that.
Yeah.
Bay is the spot.
Bay's the spot right now.
Okay.
But anyway, I was gonna say it's really cool to think about that. Like I didn't think flying for a hardcore band was possible, you know, and that was that long ago, and now we're gonna play the Metro together,
dude.
That's fucking. That's like a beautiful thing.
I mean, like our first show back being with you guys is like
feels good.
It reminds me of when Stop and Think said, "Okay, we'll get back together." Is when Mento releases their LP, you know, and Stop and Think played the Mento record release show. It kind of feels like that for me.
Awesome.
You know,
that's awesome.
So.
We're gonna need the headline though.
Finally,
we'll play with you as long as Full of Hell headlines. Like
that's it. We just got
in Japan.
Yeah, in Japan.
Now you're talking.
But yeah,
should we do the kind of standard HardLore formula for the boys?
We can wrap her up.
You guys eat good.
This man eats, dude. We need one. You and I were talking about it over tacos. This man used to hate an onion to the point. And Colin, I know you don't fuck with onions either, but for a different reason.
Rare. Yeah, it's rare.
It's rare. Colin's got like hyper, what do you call it?
They're just my taste buds are like very strong.
he's got like a hyper mouth.
So an onion, if I bite into an onion, there's no other flavor around.
That's all he gets.
I kind of feel
It's
like
gone.
that's either what I used to think was going to happen
Yeah.
or like,
or what you did experience.
Right.
Things change, you know.
right.
He couldn't.
Yeah.
If an onion was on something, it was no good. Now he's.
Oh, see, I'll
Yeah.
pick it all day.
But now he's on a taco, onions and cilantro only.
wow.
Dude, I can't believe I ever ate a taco any other way.
Huge growth.
It all
for this
started,
man.
dude, this all started because of a show on Netflix called The Taco Chronicles, which is, dude, it's awesome. And
Lime? You do the lime?
Oh yeah.
yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Oh,
Especially
God.
on a pastor taco. Yeah,
Mm.
absolutely. And the pastor at this place that Bo and I just went to tonight was phenomenal. It is not easy to find good pastor in Chicago.
No.
Like,
Well,
I'd say,
but apparently good Mexican food in Chicago is like super common. What's up with that?
It's a third of the population.
so,
Wow.
Are
so yeah,
Latino.
Mexican food in Chicago is fine, but I'm just saying like pastor, it's specific, like asada, pretty good most places, I think.
Sure.
But pastor, for some reason,
Huh.
just doesn't hit it most places for me.
So when I saw John at a barbecue that Drew had, the faded barbecue that got like rained out, he was talking to me about our fast food tier list.
Uh-oh.
And I think the top 5 you mostly guessed -1.
I think so.
He couldn't get Wingstop, which I will say to a lot of people,
It's accelerated cuisine.
it's accelerated cuisine, and to
But it was on there.
but to a lot of people is like not top 5 worthy. I'm not saying I agree. I'm just saying.
You know what?
I eat there twice a week.
Wingstop is one of those things I just don't really think about.
Yeah.
Like it wasn't even on my radar to mention this on our list. But I did get a few of the others.
You did,
right?
yeah. You nailed McDonald's.
So did you have some problems with the list? You have some issues?
I don't remember.
You praised us for Portillo's, obviously.
Wow.
I was very surprised that you guys put that on the list like so high.
It belongs.
Right.
Colin graciously, I wasn't gonna say Portillo's, but you said Portillo's,
Dude.
and it was like one of those things where I took a knee, you know.
You know how in the movie Rudy, like the Rudigers or whatever are like obsessed with Notre Dame football, and that's like a part of
Yeah.
their family.
Yeah,
That's what Portillo's is to my family.
and
Like,
and honestly to me as well.
Yeah, like a lot of families in the Midwest, it's like a staple.
I mean,
So,
that's
Great,
in and out.
Great Lakes, Great
You know?
Lakes.
Yeah, exactly.
Well,
It is.
actually, like I will strike somebody physically for In and Out. You know, I feel like you would do the same for Portillo's.
I
probably.
love, and even Drew now can enjoy a veggie dog at Portillo's.
Dude, I like the
Welcome, brother.
veggie diet. My wife and daughter are vegetarians.
You have
And
a daughter?
yes, I do.
You've
She's
been living. Dude.
Awesome.
Dude, my daughter is amazing.
She's
That's
great
a-
friends
congrats.
with several lawn statues that I have in my backyard.
You got lawn statues? You've been living too.
got a
Yeah,
home.
man.
Dude,
So,
you got a
everyone in
backyard?
Weekend Nachos has something going on.
So let me ask. So let's ask you guys what we call the
Yeah.
golden arches question.
Oh, okay.
Nachos driving down the road. You got all the time in the world. You pass a sign, a magic sign that has every single fast food chain on it, but it's fast food. So it's not some like a little shop that you know of. It's fast food, something that you can get at other places. What is the one where you're like, oh fuck, they have that? Let's go.
Fuddruckers.
Dude, incredible.
Immediate answer.
First Fuddruckers.
Fuddruckers is so fucking good.
Dude,
Dude, do you know how happy I am to hear you say that?
Dude,
Dude.
we went from Boston.
Unbelievable
We
burger,
went
God.
from Boston to Salem to do like a HardLore episode and to talk to Kurt Ballou. And there was a Fuddruckers in a mall, and he and I were both just like, "Oh shit, they got a Fuddruckers here!"
They're gone. They're all
Yeah,
gone.
they're all
Dude,
gone.
I'm not even basing this on like personal experience with Weekend Nachos. I'm just saying
if you saw
if this
that.
was like an ink blot test where there's no right or wrong answer,
Yeah.
first thing that comes to mind. Whenever I have seen a Fuddruckers pop up on one of those signs before,
Yeah.
and I don't think I've ever been able to stop and
Of
eat
course.
there. But
We
it's
always had to go to Taco Bell because I'm vegan.
like, yeah, which I think
There
is
you go.
like the story for any band.
Yeah,
That's the fair
definitely-
answer, but I'm so glad that Fuddruckers finally got some love.
dude.
It's,
First
it's
one.
one of my favorite.
Oh.
Yeah,
It's gone, dude.
Yeah.
Truly, the Sherman Oaks Fuddruckers that used to be there was like a weekly thing for me.
Dude, get this.
Colin.
I have like memories of going to Fuddruckers with my family before going to Portillo's.
Yeah, same.
And they
same.
had the original Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles arcade game in the Fuddruckers.
That was part of the best part about going to Fuddruckers is they would have amazing video games that were free. Like,
no, you still had to pop a quarter in.
Yeah,
there.
It was a coin system.
There's a coin system.
But-
Dude, Colin.
But man,
when we
pumping cheddar onto your fucking pound medium rare burger.
I call the Fuddruckers cheese pump the eighth wonder of the world.
Oh my man,
dude, there was that. The fries rocked. If you were a kid, you got a chocolate chip cookie.
Oh yeah, you had to bring the ticket up to the counter.
And you got a cookie.
Dude,
were the thick ass fries there? What started your love of thick ass fries, Bo?
Probably.
That's a fat.
It's a fat fry, but I prefer the Portillo's, the crinkle cut fry. Portillo's.
But here's the thing: other than Portillo's and Shake Shack, there's not a good crinkle cut fry.
White Castle.
White Castle has them. White Castle has them.
Come on,
you're right about Shake Shack.
Shake Shacks and Portillo's are
Shake Shack.
I agree.
Shake Shack has their own style of crinkle cut.
Love Shake Shack, don't you?
I do. I love.
It's incredible.
When I eat Shake Shack, every time, because I always spend. All right, when I go to Shake Shack, I don't think about any money. I just make sure.
You're talking his language.
I just make sure
you wouldn't be there if you were.
No, I know that. But regardless, I just make sure I get whatever I want when I'm there. Yeah. I don't even think about what it's going to cost. Whatever it ends up costing is what it costs. So I always spend around $22.
If you know John, you know that's fucking insane.
John is very mindful of money, but I will say
22. Oh, okay, is that what you're saying?
He's a frugal man.
But I will say, I will truly tell you that ever since I've known you, the one thing you really don't care about is spending money on good food.
100%.
Yeah, that's like his one thing.
It's literally what I spend any money on.
Yeah.
I don't buy records.
That's where it should go, is like sustaining yourself.
Who besides Drew buys records?
Drew Brown, he do be buying records.
Dude.
Drew, but is Taco Bell your choice, though?
Yeah.
That you're perfectly content to.
I love it, man. It's completely its own food, period. That's what I'm always arguing with people. I feel like the guys in Like Rats, maybe even the guys in the Spitalfield band that I was recently touring with, they throw in for a Chipotle. And my thing is Chipotle's trying to be something it isn't. Taco Bell is fucking self-actualized.
Wow.
I like you, Drew.
Drew is fresh off Riot Fest stage, by the way. Spitalfield played Riot Fest.
Oh, wow.
Tell him what happened to old boy 10 seconds into your set. This is insane.
Our, aging band, much like Weekend Nachos will be, so hopefully we survive. But first song, drum riser jump, torn ACL. Like 15 seconds. Literally 10 seconds. And
those are going around lately.
Dude, homeboy, though, planted his ass in front of the microphone and played the whole set.
Yeah. And what's funny is, though, I was watching and I was like, because he jumped, landed weird and fell and rolled. And I was like, oh, he's standing still. He's probably fucking embarrassed. Like, I've fallen on stage. It's very embarrassing.
Dude, you didn't tell me that he fell and rolled.
He got up kind of weird and then it just looked like he was just standing really still. And it was like, he's probably so embarrassed.
Oh, no,
he's so silly.
He just, and you know what's funny? Something I noticed too, and this is not a diss at him because what can you do? Is I would notice his effects would stay on a little long. Like there would be reverb over parts where there's blah, blah, blah. It's because he was lifting a leg. Because he had to stand on his good leg. So he was lifting the leg that was fucked.
Casualty of the core. Getting hit
Drew,
more
let me,
and more.
Let me ask you something, Drew.
Shoot.
You're a reasonable, rational man.
I'm known to be.
Definitely.
You believe in ghosts?
It's a challenge because I really want to, but I don't necessarily.
I think you and I are akin in that way. John.
You ever seen anything that you can't explain?
Not really.
John.
It's fucked up, dude.
John.
I don't believe you.
You've been known to be a little irrational and emotional in the past.
This fucking motherfucker right here.
Do you believe in ghosts?
I'm gonna not answer your question. just to spite you. No, I'm just
John.
Dude,
If I ask you, would you answer?
Yeah, sure, man.
Yeah,
You can talk to a like-minded,
Yeah,
sick individual.
Dude, you know what? I'm gonna get married again and invite you and not Bo. That's
what I'm talking
That's what
about.
I'm gonna do.
Renew those vows.
Yeah, redo the vows.
You believe in ghosts, John?
I've never thought about it. Give me a second, and then I want to finish what I was saying about Shake Shack.
Okay.
Dude,
Wow.
So
That's my man.
You two are fucking.
dude,
That's what I'm talking
do
about.
I believe in ghosts?
Have you ever seen anything that would make you believe so?
Never.
You never seen anything you couldn't explain?
Nope. Never.
Well, Chicago's not even haunted, so.
Yeah, everybody.
Yeah, I've never seen anything I couldn't explain ever. I'm gonna just go with no. I don't believe in ghosts. But like, I also have a mentality that there's like literally no reason not to believe in anything. Like, dude,
Love that.
if you think about it, like, dude, science? Fuck is that?
It's all theories.
Dude.
Guesswork.
None of this is any less strange or like any more strange than ghosts.
Dude, cameras? How did they do that?
Like
How do you figure that out?
We're talking
How
to
are
you
you
right
seeing
now.
me right now?
Yeah, right.
Dude, that's the thing is like for me to
Planes?
Dude.
For me-
Sometimes
come
I'll
on.
just look up and I'll be like,
Magnets.
How'd that get
yeah,
there?
magnets?
yeah, magnets, how do they work? No.
ICP headlined the stage we played
Dude,
at
I heard
Riot
that
Fest.
some juggalos booed Sleep Token off the stage. Was that true?
I don't know, but that's awesome.
I got to the bottom of it.
Crazy.
They went
Did you?
over by like 20 minutes on their set.
That's
time out.
fucked up. Too.
So, and you don't cross a juggalo.
No,
Time
Those
out
guys
here.
were nice as
I
hell.
would never.
You met them?
Oh yeah,
They were cool?
yeah, it was great.
ICP?
Yeah,
You met both of them?
I think they're like legendarily cool.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
That makes
yeah.
sense.
They were sound checking when we arrived.
Bruce LePage famously told me that when he worked with them at the Worcester Palladium, they were like the best to work with, the most professional, the most straightforward, easy to work
Because
with.
the Fago shower, they know what they're doing at the venues at the end, and they're like, they got to be courteous because they'll be back.
All right, time out real
you know
quick.
they use Diet Cola Fago. Yes. What?
All right, so I'm not even talking about technology as in why wouldn't I believe in ghosts. I'm talking about,
Like science theory.
dude, like anything, space,
Yeah.
Well, the difference
mountains,
is
like anything,
the
people.
The difference is with science, there's something that can be repeated,
Okay,
and that's the more
There's
and more
been
stuff
two
is-
ghosts
is-
for sure.
what's that?
There were two ghosts at some point. There was a repetition. of
Look,
ghosts.
I don't
Guaranteed.
I don't not believe because I don't think it's impossible, because I think it's impossible. I'm not a cynic. I'm just a skeptic.
See,
You know, I do think that there are things that we can't explain. I can't explain to you how ultraviolet light and X-rays and microwaves exist. And
see,
are all around us.
but you're still talking about technology in a sense. I'm talking about like, what is more strange than space and planets?
Ghosts.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Why?
Because we can observe and replicate. You can't do that with a ghost or God or things like that.
All right, you win.
Watch me, motherfucker. Watch me do it.
What's another one of our questions there, Colin?
Wait, hold on,
Who
hold
do you
on.
do,
hold on.
guys?
Oh, yeah, go
okay,
back,
I know.
go
Shake
back.
Shack, Shake
Real
Shack,
quick.
Shake
Good call on that
This,
last
this
one.
is not even that profound, but I have to finish it.
Please.
Okay.
Please.
So I'm not saying that I'm not declaring that Shake Shack is the best.
Mhm.
Okay. But I will say that every time I go to Shake Shack and every time I take my first bite, my brain says this is absolutely the best best fast food meal that money can buy.
Wow.
And I'm not
It's
claiming
up there for sure.
I'm not claiming it is necessarily, but I'm saying that's what my brain says every time I eat it.
I think ounce for ounce, Chipotle still wins when it comes to price and quality.
Yeah, but everything.
I'm
No.
not saying it's the best. I'm just thinking.
In and Out wins.
Yeah, you're
Price
absolutely
and
right.
quality.
You're absolutely right. A double
That's
double.
$8.
Yeah,
dude.
how much is a double double? It's like
And the meal is like legit $8.
it's like $5.95 for the double double.
All right, so if you don't count quality,
Yeah.
Drew might disagree. But if you don't count quality, but you just count like,
Caloric intake for a dollar spent.
dude, I can eat 2 cheesy bean and rice burritos at Taco Bell and technically be a vegetarian
Yeah.
for $2.60, and I will be full for.
Are those is that still accurate though, pricing wise? Things might have
I
changed.
think
I just
that
did it a
shit's
few-
on the 99-cent menu still.
Dude,
Wow.
I just
they
know
still have a
they're-
99
Yeah, they
cent
do.
menu?
They're
They
a
do.
dollar. They're $1.27.
Dude, I remember back in the day when the McDouble went to $1, like $1.26 or something, and you were like, "What the fuck is going on?
Sure.
What are they doing?" And I remember thinking like, "Oh, it's not that big." Now it's like
$3.59.
It's like $2.85 here, which it's going to be less expensive here.
Higher.
Holy shit!
I forget. Was Raising Cane's on you guys' list?
Yeah,
Bo is not a Canesman.
I'm not a Caniac, dude.
He's not a Caniac.
So wait a second. You didn't answer my question. Was it on the
It's
list?
It's in like the C or B. I
It's
like
in
it
B.
a lot.
I believe it's in B.
I love Raising Cane's.
Do you
Yeah, it's amazing.
you fuck with the
Love-
sauce?
I could drink it.
I
It's
believe
one of the great sauces of our time.
It's an excellent sauce. And you know what? I don't care how easy it might be to make. All I care is that they make it for me. And
I don't give a
put it
shit.
on my I put it on my chicken.
It being easy to make is that's nothing.
Well, I've heard that though. Oh, it's just this and this. Well, you didn't make it.
Yeah,
You
fuck
fuck.
yeah.
Do you put the pepper relish on your Shake Shack stuff? The red. What is it, Colin?
Oh, John, the cherry pepper
Cherry
relish.
pepper relish.
Never had it.
John,
Next time you go, give it a shot. It's
All right.
it is what unlocked it
if
for
you're
me.
already feeling that way when you're biting in, this is gonna change everything.
Well,
It's a little spicy, but you fuck with a little spice.
it doesn't matter at this point to me.
Yeah,
but
good
but I
answer.
will say that what I like doing at Shake Shack, which is also what I like doing at Portillo's, and also what I like doing at Fuddruckers, is I like putting multiple different types of cheese on it.
Okay.
So I'll get a double Shack burger, which is awesome because it comes with cheese. Like the one that you order, like you don't have to get a cheeseburger at Shake Shack. It's just the one has cheese in it, right?
Yeah.
It's like $13 for the sandwich alone.
Yeah, I've never not gotten a double though.
Same.
Yeah,
I get 2 doubles mostly
I-
most of the time.
There was one time where I got a double and I was like still hungry and I couldn't afford to get another double, so I just got a single.
Hey, respect.
But still, the person that I was eating with was like disgusted at how much food I was eating.
You gotta eat with me. There will be no judgment.
No shit.
Man can eat.
Oh, I'll get a
Yeah, the
cheeseburger,
cheese thing.
and then Shake Shack has that like sauce that they put on it that's also
Oh,
good. It's
Shack
kind of got
sauce.
like
Shack sauce.
it's got like a smokiness to it, and then I will also dip that in the cheese, and I do that with Portillo's too. I'll get like a cheeseburger and like just dip every bite in the cheese that comes with the fries.
I'm not a huge like extra cheese or like cheese sauce guy, but I've heard that the Portillo's one is like dynamite.
Wait, you've never had the Portillo's cheese?
I've probably had it, but I've never had like the beef and cheese croissant. I've heard is real good.
Yeah, James is all about that.
Yeah.
He doesn't know.
You heard it here.
The tables turn on James in this episode, big time.
No, I feel like he's just gonna watch this and laugh, so it's fine.
All right. All right.
But yeah, you know
Man.
what? The beef and cheddar croissant has always been a weird item for me. It's good, but it's just like get a cheeseburger or an Italian beef.
Yeah,
Like,
I'm a big beef guy. Anyway.
Now, if you get a combo at Portillo's and you add mozzarella cheese and sweet peppers to that,
Dude.
that is
That sounds good.
that
Do you know
is-
what the combo is?
No.
It's a beef sandwich with a Polish sausage in it.
no, it's an
Italian
Italian
sausage.
sausage. Yeah.
Excuse
What
me.
It's an
the hell,
Italian
You're
beef
absolutely right.
with
Showed
an
me that?
Italian
Absolutely right.
sausage in it.
You're absolutely right.
You never told me to get that, Bo. That's fucked up, dude.
Next time,
Dude,
baby.
with mozzarella cheese.
Dude, Colin, when we're in Detroit,
I would fucking.
and
when
sweet
we're-
peppers.
All the
And
way
sweet
back.
peppers.
when we're in Detroit, let's see if we can find a Fuddruckers. I bet there's
Yeah.
one. I bet there's one. All right, ask him.
I'll go to one in fucking. There's probably one in Times Square, dude.
Yeah,
We'll do that.
Straight up. Ask him the question.
All right. So
This was
when thinking of Weekend Nachos, you guys as individuals, this question is, who do you do?
It was bestowed upon us by Colin of Arabia. It was an excellent.
Where he wants to know who you're doing as a guy when you're on stage performing.
So-
like, who are the 2-3 musicians you saw where you were like, I'm gonna take that and do it.
So my answer, just to give you an example, was Hetfield and Porcel.
Got it.
I'm like kind of blending those two. I think they have the best styles.
Who do you emulate when you're on stage?
Yeah,
That's a
but
very
who do
good
you,
question.
well, we call it who do you do? So as John, the singer of Weekend Nachos, who do you do?
So is it like who do I successfully do, or
No.
who in my head
No.
am I thinking of?
Right.
For
Who
me,
are a couple guys that inspired?
Yeah, exactly.
for me as a front man, even though I'll never be this crazy, okay, never, it's always been Timmy from No Justice. Always.
That makes sense.
Because when I start to like go off when we play, I'm not even doing the same moves as him or anything, but I've always thought like, okay, be unhinged like Timmy from No Justice. Like whatever you want to do right now, just do it. And like every time I saw No Justice play, which was like probably like the early 2000s, I think. Like, it's just like, dude, this guy does not control himself. Like,
I mean, that last show video is one of the greatest hardcore live videos of all time.
Totally.
Of all time.
Yeah.
Period.
There's a team dedicated to just putting shit back that he throws.
It's so cool.
Drew.
Dude, I think in terms of actual vocal performance, I think John's most apparent influence is Bastard, though.
For sure.
I think
100%.
that's what he was trying to get out of himself.
Is that true?
Yeah, definitely.
Interesting.
Well, okay.
Colin, how do you feel about that?
If you could
100%.
Yeah.
Dude, if you could, I would say it's a mixture of Dan Lactose from Spaz and the singer of Bastard, because there's always been that like power violence bark that I got from like Infest and Spaz.
Yeah,
basically.
Sure.
Right.
You know, but yeah, like the
is very Japanese.
Yeah.
absolutely. And like, yeah, I would say it's a combination of Bastard and power violence, like perfectly, you know?
Yeah. I mean, if I'm thinking about playing bass
But
and
do
like
drums too, because he's a very good drummer.
well, drums is like
Totally different.
100% taking the band from the Chicago area, Braid, who are like a sort of like a weird time signature, very creative emo band, and folding that dude's drum style into hardcore punk.
That's cool.
Cool.
For bass,
Yeah.
John bringing up Spaz, I think it's actually probably Chris Dodge. Just like one of the first people I heard that was using like weird, distorted bass, and also just the vibe of Spaz of just like they were this heavy band, but they're super wacky. When you saw them play live, none of them looked anything like what you pictured in your head when they played. And then they just like fucking ripped.
Dude, first 2 Spaz mentions on the show, I think.
Yeah, I think so too.
Awesome.
This is why,
Yeah, I will
My
proudly
boys.
be happy about that. That's
John
my, for
needs
sure.
his second dinner.
I
right
will.
about now.
Yeah, I do need my second dinner. I will proudly be happy about that. That's the statement.
Dude, and one of the best things ever too about someone like fucking Spaz is that like we ended up being able to play with Infest and Despise You both when Dodge was in the band.
And low threat profile. Dodge
Those guys are fucking amazing too. Like, meeting your idols, some dangerous shit,
Yeah, scary.
and meeting the
big
dudes
time.
you're like modeling your bass playing off of and just having them be
In punk and
awesome.
shit,
Dude,
it's 50-50.
that is another thing that I always think is hilarious when like the power violence purists are like, oh, Weekend Nachos is not real power violence. Like, number one, like we don't fucking care if we are or not. Number two, it's like you got us, playing shows with these bands that like, I mean, we worship them in a different way, I would say. Like we have like a tie to them because it's like we can admit like, yeah, we love these bands.
Yeah.
But then there's other people that are simultaneously like talking shit about us that like literally worship these bands. Like
Right.
they like literally fucking jerk off to it. And so it's like,
Probably.
so it's like, there's like a sense of authenticity when you know that it's like, okay, what you're trying for and we're not really trying for, like we're still doing better.
And we're the ones
than
playing
you
with
are.
Yeah.
and
right. Yeah,
it's
good.
like,
Okay, I got you now.
it's like when you're not trying to do something, you're probably going to do it better than somebody that is.
100%.
So
Ooh. One quick.
Also, a lot of the time, the influenced surpasses the influencer.
Mhm.
Because you can take everything you've learned from all these things, and I'm not saying you guys are like. I feel like if I said you guys are bigger and better than Spaz, it would be like fuck you, man.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying in a broad sense, the bands that like laid the groundwork for the future didn't have anything to go off of.
Of
Totally.
course, yeah.
We've got all these things we can pull influences from, and then people don't know.
It's like if you were to use a band like Have Heart, for example. Like you could say like, okay, Chain of Strength, you know, probably a pretty big band in their time, but like when you think about like what Have Heart has had to work with that Chain of Strength did not.
Yeah.
You look at Have Heart's influence,
right,
and what they did with the opportunities that they had. It's like,
and it's like Chain of Strength ain't filling a parking spot or parking space with 10,000 people.
Right. And you know what? Like if I heard a young kid say like Have Heart is better than Chain of Strength ever would be, like, I wouldn't fucking care that they said that. Like, go for it. Like,
I mean, they would be right.
Yeah. I mean, and honestly, it's like whether they're right or not in my eyes, it's like that kid Have Heart is what matters to them. You know, like that's like, that just proves what you're saying, Colin.
A crazy thing, just something that happened over the weekend at Ride Fest during Gorilla Biscuits. They do a Minor Threat cover by Minor Threat. And there was like a guy who I couldn't figure out who it was, who looked kind of wacky. And Siv was like, we like to throw it back to the old school. And speaking of old school, this is Springer, singer of SSD Control. And he was just like hanging out on stage. And then they covered Minor Threat. It was just the wildest. And then talk about, you know, bands that barely existed that influenced other bands, and then Gorilla Biscuit.
Yeah.
And blah, blah, blah. It's wild. Wow.
Big time. Well, I think this is the longest episode in the history of HardLore.
Yeah, I think so. But there's a pause. There's stuff to edit. You know?
Yeah, no. This is good.
I mean, you probably got like 20, 30 minutes of shit to work with here.
No, we're good to go. This is all staying. We're good.
You got to trim some of this shit off.
Anything you want to tell the kids? The show got announced last week by the time this comes out. Oh,
nice. Okay. I will say that now that the cat's out of the bag about us doing these shows, see, I was like, what's funny is I was about to be like, just want to tell everybody that we're like really excited to play. Dude, that sounds fucking stupid to say something like that. So I don't want to say that. I just want to say that like the way that we're kicking this off with the show with Harm's Way is like 100%. It's going to be a Chicago, like a legendary Chicago game.
Yeah.
And, you know, when we do play these other shows, like it's just,
there's more stuff coming
Yeah.
than what everybody knows about so far. Like
Excellent.
we're going to be playing shows throughout 2024. We're just ironing shit out still.
There we go.
Yeah.
That's huge. Breaking news.
My only goal for it is for it to just be as fun as it was.
Yeah.
You know, so there was no other real expectation for it besides that.
Perfect
answer. This was a great episode. Thank you, John. Thank you, Drew.
Thanks for having us.
Weekend Nachos is back, man. Period. Unforgivable. We will see you all next week. Get tickets for the Harm's Way record release with Weekend Nachos right now.
I might as well say it's Harm's Way, Weekend Nachos, All Out War, Fleshwater, Ingrown. Bam. That's the show, baby. November 18th.
Monumental.
Unforgivable.
That's how the episode's ending.